welcome to the Membership Workshop Day 3. My name is Rebecca. I'm your co-host, and I actually have a friend of mine with me today.
Hello, hello. Welcome everybody. So excited to be here. I'm Kat. I'm sure you've seen me maybe in the community behind the scenes, and I'm super excited to be co-hosting today.
Yeah, so I invited Kat to join me today because I don't know if any of you have been over in our free community on Facebook, our membership community, but it is blowing up. The energy in there is off the charts, and you have probably already interacted with Kat. I wanted you to all see her face and see the person behind the amazing comments and support that you're getting. But Kat, why don't you share a little bit about what you're seeing happen over in that community over the last couple of days?
Yeah, the community has been awesome. We're seeing so many people taking steps in their business and in their memberships. We see some founding member launches happening. People are getting new members every day. There's people who are even surprising themselves with the action that they're taking, which is just awesome. We even see some accountability partners kind of growing and happening as well. So the community is really coming together and supporting each other. And it's so great seeing all the progress that people are making with their messaging maps and their positioning statements.
Yeah.
Awesome.
For sure. And one of the things that I love seeing in the community too, especially around this time of year, and something you're so good at, Kat, because you spend so much time with literally hundreds of membership site owners on success guide calls and just really like digging into their memberships and figuring out next best steps and stuff like that. But what I see a lot is people hopping into the community, looking for a little validation, looking for like just is this, a good thing to do, or is this my next best step? And you are on there along with our amazing friends, Mikey and Ray, who are also being super supportive in the community. But I just wanted to really encourage you, if you haven't been in the free community yet, hop in there because all of the things that Kat said are happening there every single day. And it's just getting busier the more we get into this membership workshop. So that's really great. So you are joining us today. We're going to be talking about memberships essentially from A to Z. We're talking the membership blueprint, and that's really going to include where you start, what your next steps are, how to grow it, how to do all the different things. So you're in the right place if that's what you want to work on or learn about today. And then I will just let you know that our team is in the chat. We do have a workbook for today. Here we go, membership blueprint. And so our team is in the chat. We'll be dropping that link. Of course, if you've been with us for the last couple of workshops, you know that we have been playing a little game every single time we're on together. So we'll be doing that again today as well. So the team is just going to keep dropping those links in the chat just to make sure you have everything you need to prepare yourself for when Stu joins us. And I think we can maybe go say hello to a few people in the comments there, Kat.
Yeah, I would love that. The chat is on fire. We have Van coming in from the UK. We have Marie. We have Dolly. We have Martina. Welcome. Steve, hello.
It's so good to see you all.
Feeling Stitches, welcome. Wendy, hello.
Wendy's coming back. Amazing. Well, while we're kind of running through some of the housekeeping here, why don't you let us know in the comments if you have been here with us before? So is this your first membership workshop today? Have you been here for the first and second one? Let us know how long you've been hanging out with us for the last week and a half. And Kat, I'm just going to cover a couple of quick housekeeping items, and then I think we should shout out some of the amazing things that we've been seeing happening in the community.
Yes.
Okay, so housekeeping, as always, remove any distractions that you have right now. This is a once a year thing that we do. We pour everything into it. You are going to get actionable strategies and steps that you can take today, right now, to actually launch your membership. You'll see that in just a second. So remove distractions, get yourself focused. Make sure you've downloaded the workbook. Our team will drop that in the chat as we're going. There is a workbook. You can also see it just below this video. There's a button called workbook. So just below this video, you can click that and you'll also get the workbook from there. Make sure that you are in Stu's Instagram broadcast channel. So I believe we have a QR code. There it is. So you guys, okay, you guys, Stu's like right behind being super loud and distracting. Anyway, make sure that you're headed over to Stu's broadcast channel. You just saw the QR code. We'll continue to share that as we go. And then, of course, stick around. If you've been with us for the last couple of workshops, you know that there is a super secret segment coming up at the end. It's something that everybody asks for every single year. So it's definitely something that you want to hang around for. Last but not least, if you have not yet, make sure you're registered for our membership masterclass. It's happening on Sunday, April 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you want to make sure that you're registered. We want to see you there. You've been on the journey with us for this long so far. This is the thing that's just going to blow it all out of the water for you. So make sure that you're registered for that. Okay, Kat. Shall we shout out some of the amazing things that we are seeing happening over in the community?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So producer Dean is going to pull up some slides. So this is Joy. Joy is on fire. She's getting things done, and she already has 10 founding members. Way to go, Joy.
Next up,
we'll go back and forth. Sorry.
Next up, we have Chris, who wrote a founding member launch email, and then 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes after the last secret session. So already taking action. Way to go, Chris.
Amazing. Awesome. All right. Then we've got Angela. Angela has already made her first membership sale. Way to go, Angela. Amazing.
Jennifer made her first founding member sale as well. Way to go, Jennifer. That's awesome.
Excellent. And then Rachel is letting us know that she posted her founding member launch while she was on the workshop call yesterday. I don't know if this is how she's feeling about it, but we're cheering you on. We're cheering you on, Rachel.
Camilo closed his cart with 25 members and over $6,000 in revenue. That is crazy.
That is great. You know what? We actually got to talk with Camilo on our VIP session, the last one that we had, and it was just really amazing to catch up with him and just see kind of what's happening for him since he did that. And you know, the one thing that he said is just do what Stu says. What Stu says works. Just follow it. It's super simple and get it out there. So that was super amazing. So let's do a couple more. We got Camilo. We are on to Christy. Christy put a poll in the community. This is why we call it the Better Together community, because everybody just kind of comes together and starts encouraging each other and cheering each other on. So Christy actually put this poll up, and it looks like 90% of people who were answering said they're going to do their founding member launch this week.
Yes. And then we have Sonia, who is committed to launching tomorrow. We actually have a few. The next couple of slides are people who are committed to launching. And I just love seeing the energy. Everyone is here for it, and we are here for them. It's going to be so exciting.
Awesome. Okay, so let's pause there for a second. And I just want to head back to the chat, Kat. I know that we had asked people to let us know if they've been joining us. It's all scrolled down now. So I think that everybody... It's like back to telling us where they're joining us from. But I see Karen saying first live workshop, but just listen to the first VIP. And I've just done my messaging map. Amazing, Karen. Great to have you here. Ben, is this the masterclass? No, it's not going to be exactly the same. So you definitely want to make sure that you're registered for that masterclass on Sunday the 14th.
Patty's here. She just found out about this today. I finished watching part 1 this morning.
Amazing.
And it's ready to catch up on part 2 and also signed up for VIP, which is exciting.
Awesome. Great to have you. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of start from the top again. For those of you who are just joining us, I have my friend Kat here, who is co-hosting with me for this little pre-show before Stu joins us. And I wanted you guys to see Kat, see her face, know the person behind the person who's supporting you over in the free community. That space has blown up over the last couple of days, especially. And we are seeing people come in and, looking for validation for their ideas, getting excited about squashing their own gremlins or needing support. What else are you seeing over in the free community, Kat?
Yeah, seeing so much of just encouragement and support from other people in the community as well. Like we've got the team in there, Ray and Mikey, and we are just having fun seeing people posting and supporting each other. There's some accountability partners that have been created as well behind the scenes. There are people who are surprising themselves with the action that they're taking. And we're here for it, and we love to see all of the new members that people are getting as well. It's like a win for all of us when
Yeah.
someone gets a new member. So
100%. And what I love is that you guys get to meet Kat. Kat spends so much time talking to membership owners every single day. So she's hopping on calls, digging in with people, and just celebrating their wins with them, but also helping them get unstuck and be able to take that next step. So when you see Kat in that community, first of all, give her some love and the rest of the team because they are working hard, helping you figure out, what the next best thing for you is. But just know that she is coming at you with a whole lot of experience. So if you need an idea validated or you're just not sure, or those gremlins are just like being too loud in your head, Kat's going to help to get you into action and taking that next step. So super good to have Kat here co-hosting with me before Stu comes out. Okay, so let's just again talk about some housekeeping here. So of course we want for you to remove all of your distractions. So put Blippi on for the kids. Blippi or Bluey? What is it? I always get confused. My kids were like, Paw Patrol, and I don't know any of the stuff. Baby Shark, I don't know any of that stuff now, but put something on for the kids is basically what I'm trying to say. Make sure your dog's happy, your pets are happy. Be here with us because this is a once a year event that we do. We completely pour everything into it. We prepare for it for months. And so we want for you to be able to get out of this everything that's available for you. So you are going to see people who are launching and who are finding success during all of this free workshop happening right now, as maybe you've seen us sharing some of that from the community already so far. So, distractions out of the way. We want to make sure that you have the workbook for today. So, this is your membership blueprint for today. You will find the content that Sue's going to cover in here. And then at the back, there's also a section for QR codes. Don't worry about those too much in terms of how you're accessing them. Our team is dropping all of the links that are related to these barcodes in the chat. So, not to worry, but you can get that either from the chat, our team's dropping the link, or you can find it attached to the button below this video, which says workbook. So, you can download that there. We are also going to be playing a game again today. We've all been having so much fun with that. Again, the team is dropping that link for you. So just go ahead and click it, get yourself prepared and set up. If you've been here with us already, you know what to expect. So get ready.
Bex, I have a question.
Yeah.
Does Stu have the code for this game this time? Is Stu going to be playing with us?
No, guys, I confiscate his phone and his ability to log in because he's too competitive. And we have legitimately played this game in our own membership. And Stu joins and he tries to win, and it's not fair. So I wanted to make sure that everybody here had a fighting chance, kept Stu off of that. So not to worry, he's been banned from joining this game. All right, if you're not already, I want you to head over to Instagram and join Stu's broadcast channel. There's a lot of behind the scenes action happening over there. Stu's dropping voice notes and just different links to different things. So make sure that you are over in his broadcast channel and obviously give him a follow if you're not following him yet. You should be. So make sure that you're doing that. Of course, we want for you to stick around. We do have a secret segment at the end of this workshop. It's a question that we get all of the time, and it's going to create so much clarity for you in how to move forward and start creating that recurring revenue in your business. So stick around. I can't tell you what it is, but I'm sure Stu's going to probably let the cat out of the bag. He's not very good at keeping the secret anymore, is he? Last but not least, I want to make sure that you're registered for the membership masterclass that is coming up on Sunday, April 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yes, the link is just below us. So if you haven't registered for that, make sure you do. It's just going to take everything that we've been learning since last Thursday, bring it all together, and then just blow it out of the water for you so that you can start taking immediate action. So make sure you are there for that. Okay, producer Dean and producer Phil, are we We got 30 seconds. Okay, Kat, anything to say for this last 30 seconds of your co-hosting debut?
Wow. Not too much to say other than I'm excited for today. The secret segment is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to catching up with everybody in the chat. And yeah, just excited for the day. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Kat. And thank you, everyone. We will see you in the chat.
1 week ago, we started your membership workshop journey. With people tuning in from all over the world, it's been absolutely extraordinary. And although it's only been 7 short days, a lot has happened. People having aha after aha, realizing that the compounding monthly recurring revenue of a membership means a whole lot more revenue at the end of the year. And it also means a whole lot more time and money for the people that matter most. But what's more exciting has been watching people go from idea to action, whether that's creating their messaging map, sharing their positioning statement, or putting their founding member launch out into the world. Who would have thought that in less than a week, you'd go from idea to membership with paying members? Now, Camilo Rodriguez was one of the first to share. He welcomed 25 paying members and generated over $6,000 in revenue. Then it was like the floodgates of awesomeness swung wide open, and the results kept coming in. People celebrating their first paying member, others welcoming 5 founding members, 10 founding members, even 12 founding members. We even had Kelly Salmon, who was blown away by the response of her audience, welcoming a whopping 104 members. The results have been incredible. But most importantly, it's been every single person who made the commitment to finally get out of their own way and start getting into action. That's what's been special. Some people had been thinking about their idea for months, maybe even years. But it's been during this workshop that everything has begun to click, and they've gained more clarity and more momentum than ever before. That's what we will continue today as we build on the previous 2 workshops. Today, we're going to unpack the entire membership blueprint. In fact, the blueprint is one of the most valuable assets from this entire workshop, and it will be yours starting now.
Hello.
Dexter.
Hi, Stu. How's it going?
Can we just take a moment and acknowledge Kat for
Please, yeah.
coming in here, doing a great job.
Yeah.
If you have a chance and you're interacting with Kat in the community, I just want to let you know that she has been pouring her heart and soul into getting back to as many people as possible. So we're a team of real human beings who genuinely love and care about your progress and success. So give her a shout out when you get a chance. Beck,
Yeah.
we have got a doozy of a day
Oh.
planned for everybody.
We do. And we've already been shouting out the founding member launch wins that are happening over in the community. It's just been incredible. The energy is off the charts.
Yeah, the momentum is incredible. And I just want to acknowledge every single one of you who have taken action on the things that we have been talking about here in this workshop. Because here's what I know to be true is that you may not know the next step, or you may not foresee what is going to happen. But I've been doing this for a long time, helping people for decades launch and grow their memberships. And I know for a fact, when you get into action and you start taking that next step, it's like a domino effect of amazingness starts happening in your business and in your life. So kudos to everybody who's been taking action. I've been seeing, I was in the community this morning. I was commenting a whole bunch. I was liking everybody's posts as much as I could. So I love seeing that action.
All right, Stu. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like we're ready to just dive right into today. I know that we've got another game queued up. I had to promise everybody in the chat that I've confiscated your ability to join. I think a few people were a little nervous that you're going to get in there and try to win.
Well, okay, I was thinking about this on the drive over because you're a competitive person when you put in your destination in the GPS and it tells you 43 minutes.
That's right.
And the first thought that goes through your mind is, I can beat that.
I can beat that. Yeah. Well, did you beat it?
I did, yeah, 100%. Made it in 41. Okay, We're gonna head over to Maddie. Maddie, whoop, there we go. Oh, okay, Maddie. We're gonna dive right into a poll. And this is the interactive part of today's session. So I want to encourage everybody to participate. We've done this in the past sessions. It's been really fun. We got some great questions to ask. Maddie, what exactly do people need to do to participate?
Yeah. All right. So on the back of the workbook, there's a QR code that you can scan. And if you don't have access to that workbook, don't worry. Our team is going to be dropping the link in the chat. And as well as while we're starting this poll, this little game, the QR code and the link will be there too. So there's lots of opportunity to join. You can join while we're going through the different slides, but the team will be dropping the link. So make sure you click that and you can join.
Yeah, so you'll see the link there that says play the game here, the AHA Slides link. That's the one that you want to click. So as y'all are clicking, you'll be taken to a page. And once people start loading that up, here we go. We can start to see everybody coming in now.
There we
go. We're going to give it a few minutes here. If you want to participate on your phone, you see the QR code on the screen now too. So you can just literally like take your phone and, open your camera, and then that'll give you the link and you can pop away on that. So I can see a whole bunch of you coming on now. Now, here's the thing. You got to do this quickly because once we start, some people are saying it's showing closed.
I see people registering that. So just make sure you're hitting the QR code that is showing up on your screen.
Yeah, if we can just go back to the screen for me, team. Perfect. Yeah, so just you'll see this. You'll see the link on the screen there, and or the QR code. I can see hundreds and hundreds of you are now jumping on board. Definitely do that. We'll give a countdown here in a few seconds because once we start, you won't be able to do it. Now, some of you are saying it's closed.
Yeah, the link.
Just make sure you're using today's link. Make sure you're using today's link. I'm gonna double check it here on this computer.
Yeah, double check. Also, you can't submit any of your answers just yet. We're going to unlock it soon, but I want to make sure that's not the issue as well.
Yeah, I just checked, friends, and I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's a button that says submission closed. That's just because we haven't started it yet. If you land on that page, as soon as Maddie presses the magic button, we'll be good to go. Okay. So yeah, works fine. You're good. Everyone's like, gotcha. Okay.
If you're not getting in, you can also answer in the chat too. So we can go both ways.
Yes. Well, on the quiz, yes, we can go both ways on the quiz. So we are going to. Okay, it looks like we got majority of people. We'll give you a final countdown in 5 seconds. For those of you who are just jumping on, you're gonna see on the screen a QR code and or a link. Click that. Participate in this opening session quiz. It's super fun. You'll see it here in just a second. So we'll give a final countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. All right, Maddie, here we go.
All right, let's go. So the first question is, how many of the membership workshops have you attended?
Okay. Look at this.
So cool.
Look at the results.
Look at all 3. Oh my goodness. Yay.
You've been here for all 3. Kudos to you. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, hey, shout out.
Love this.
Excellent. Nicely done, everybody. That was exciting. Look at that. Okay.
555 have attended all 3 workshops.
Amazing. Great stuff, everybody. Okay, let's go to the next question, Maddie.
When did you complete your founding members launch? Have you already launched? Is it going to be this week? Are you going to do it next week? Or are you planning on doing it in the future?
Okay. All right. Okay, we'll do it in the future. For those of you answering, we'll do it in the future. I may call upon you to give me a specific date because I don't want that being a form of procrastination. Great to see everybody who has launched this week and next week. And for those of you who are already launched, well done. Awesome.
Also, for those of you who are doing it in the future or next week, I hope you know that Stu is a challenge right now.
Yes.
And there's a big prize up for grabs.
That is a great point, Maddie. Thank you for that. Big prize package. will be going to somebody who completes their founding member launch by the end of this week. Huge incentive.
Very big. All right. Well, let's move on to the next question.
Great.
What role will a membership play in your business?
Okay. Primary business. Okay, good. Part of my company, side gig. This is very informative.
Very informative.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Love this.
We'll have to ask a follow-up on this way in the future.
I see lots of comments too in the comment section. Primary, part of my business.
Okay, in the chat, if you
Yeah.
guys are, for those who are in the chat, when you say it's part of your business, what else will you be looking to sell? Is that like courses, coaching, physical products, services? Let me know that. Course and community, says Dina. Okay, this is excellent. Fan diddly-tastic.
That's a new one. Oh my, add it to the list.
Wow, it's like you guys are in sync. All right, let's move on to the next question.
This is the last one, all right? What would be the number one area you would like Stu to spend the most time on today?
Yeah. Now, this is important because the blueprint that we are going to go through is very comprehensive. And what I know, because I've taught this in the past, is that it can tend to go long. And so what I'm going to do is I'm looking at these poll results right now, which will determine where I'm going to spend the majority of the time. And it looks like content, marketing, and launching are the three winners. Oh, no, there's a few more straggler votes coming in. Okay, we'll let it play out.
Oh boy.
Mixed in the comments here.
Okay.
See a lot of launching, marketing.
Yeah. This is great. By the way, thank you to everybody for participating. This just makes it more fun, number one, but number two, I can shape today's session around your most pressing needs. So thank you for taking the time to share that. Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah,
Maddie.
thank you.
Let's give it up.
Amazing.
Let's give it up for Maddie. Let's give it up for Maddie. Okay.
Bringing in the quizzes every day. Let's see
So-
what she puts together for Sunday.
So what I saw from that, Bex, content, marketing,
Yep.
and launching were the three areas that everybody wants to spend the majority of time in,
Yep.
which is fantastic. And I want to remind everybody, if you haven't downloaded the blueprint yet, definitely go and do that. Bex, how do they do that?
So our team is dropping the link in the chat every so often. So we'll make sure that we have it that way. But you can also just click underneath this video. There's a button that says workbook, and that is the workbook for today. It's a fillable PDF as well. So you don't have to have it printed. You can work on it on your computer, on another screen, or whatever you need to do.
Yeah, and the reason this is important, and you'll want to download the blueprint, is, as I said, I'm not going to be able to go through everything in granular detail today. I legit was using that poll to help me determine where I'm going to spend my time. But this is a blueprint that you will reference again and again and again. So I highly recommend that you go and download this. If you haven't, we'll be able to follow along, and you'll be able to fill in the blanks. But there's a lot of information there that is not, fill in the blankable. It's just straight good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Bex, before I take this away, what else do I need to be thinking about before we dive in?
I think that we've got it covered, Stu. Everybody's here, excited, ready to go, and I think you can take it away.
All right. Friends, let's rock and roll. Okay. You know what? Let's get down to it. The jacket is coming off. Because we're gonna legit roll up our sleeves and we are going to move at a fast pace. So the membership blueprint, the whole purpose of today's session is to give you a high level overview of what goes into a successful membership business. I want you to think of these areas that we're going to cover as like the pillars of a successful membership. Some of them we've touched on in the previous workshops. And if you haven't watched those, I highly recommend you do so. And then also, just to kind of preview, on Sunday evening, I will be bringing all of this together. So make sure that you've got Sunday evening reserved. because I'm going to be bringing all of this together. And if you haven't registered for that, just go to membershipwebinar.com. You'll see the information there on the screen. It's Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, the other thing that I will say before we dive in is that it's inevitable that we have a whole lot of questions as we go through this. And one of the things I want you to know is I'm going to do my best over the next few days to answer as many questions as possible. In fact, I just made a Instagram post/reel right before I jumped on here. And so if you've got questions, we'll have a section at the end of today to answer those. But also, that Instagram reel, ask your questions in the comments of that Instagram reel. And throughout the next few days, I am going to be answering a whole bunch of them myself. So if your question doesn't get answered here, go ask it there and we'll make sure we get to it. Okay, friends, let's dive in. So when we talk about membership sites, there are some key areas that we've got to spend our attention on. I'm just going to pull up my notes here just so I stay on track. Okay, perfect. So in the last session, or the very first session, the workshop, we talked about how to assess your market. And I'm going to ask in the chat real quick to see if anybody remembers. But what were the 4C or the 3Cs in terms of how we gauge whether our market is a good fit? Does anybody remember? Community is one. Well done, Jen. D, customers, community, and content. Look at you. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in and sharing in the chat. That's right. So when we're evaluating our community, we're looking at, like, number one, our customers. They're the most important thing that we're looking at, right? We want to see, are they passionate? Are they buying? Are they looking up info? Are they seeking answers? Are they trying to solve a particular problem in their life? Are they, trying to master a certain skill? Are they looking for convenience? Like, we want to zero in on our customers. Most important. Number two is our community. Like, if you already have people who you are serving, you already have an audience on any platform like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, you name the platform. If you've got an audience there, that's your green light. Like, that is your green light. Because the myth is that you need a big audience to launch a membership, and that is 100% a myth. You do not need tens of thousands. In fact, you don't even need thousands. Just a couple hundred is all you need, and you can build that very quickly if you are starting from absolute complete scratch. But most of you likely underestimate the audience that you do have and how to leverage that. So if you've already got a following of any kind, that is your green light. And then the last area that we talk about is content. So if you've been creating content around a particular topic, maybe it is, social media content. Maybe it's in a Facebook group. Maybe you have written a book, or you've got a podcast or a YouTube channel, but you've been producing content around a particular subject for a little bit. That is your green light as well. So we talked about that during the first session. The second session, we really focused on, the number one tool that every membership site should have, and that is a success path. And the reason that the success path is so important is because it guides us from a marketing standpoint, right? Because people, they want to go from where they are to where they want to be. And that journey is what your membership helps bridge. And so when you start showing them that journey and showing that it is broken down into stages and that you'll be supporting them along that way, that is very attractive. Because the other side of that is, if somebody's trying to go from here to there in their life in some area, it can feel overwhelming to think that they've got to learn all the things to be able to get the outcome and result. But that's where your success path really breaks that down, makes it feel a heck of a lot easier. So success path is great on the marketing side. It's also the thing that guides us on the content side, right? Like, if we break that journey down into different stages and we identify that the majority of our members are in one or the other, one or two stages, that's where we want to center most of our time and attention in terms of the content that we're creating. And then it works tremendously well to retain our members, because as members are progressing, we can reflect back to them the success and progress that they've been experiencing. And if we can't do that, if we don't have that measuring stick of success, people won't associate or connect their progress to the value they've received from your membership. So it's really important that we keep people connected. All right. So with that, now what we're going to do is we're going to move to the blueprint and we're going to dig in a little bit further. I'm going to pull up my notes because there's a lot that I want to take you through. And as I said, based on the poll, I'm going to spend the majority of my time around the content strategy, marketing strategy, and launch strategy. So the first section, though, I'm just going to touch on briefly, and that is that when we're thinking about our membership site, there are a variety of different types of memberships. We've talked about product-based, service-based, knowledge-based, and community-based. Even within the most popular, which is the knowledge-based membership, there's a few subtypes within that as well. So I encourage you in the blueprint to go and take a look at that as you are digging into, what type of membership site are you going to create. And you'll see that on page number 3, we kind of break some of that down. We also talk about the foundation strategy, just getting real clear on who you are, who you serve, how to communicate that, etc. Okay, the next section, though, is your content strategy. And this is what I'm gonna focus on this for now. The content strategy we can think of in 2 parts. I like to think of one part as like your audience strategy, like how do you attract the people that you are looking to serve. If you remember, I shared the story of a client of mine, Lisa Kay, who we met about a month and a half ago. And we identified that growing her audience was the thing that was really going to move the needle for her membership growth. And so we identified Instagram to be the platform to help her do that. At the time, her audience was around 5,000 followers on Instagram. Now, here's the crazy pants. When we met 1 week ago, her audience had grown from 5,000 to 23,000. I was live and we looked at her account and it was at 23,000 followers 1 week ago. So going from 5,000 to 23,000 in about a 40-day period, it's pretty crazy, right? Well, check this out. From 1 week ago to today, her audience has grown from 23,000 to almost 35,000. What? It's insane, right? You can find her on Instagram if you go to Lisa K and then 388. Now, I'm not going to take full credit for Lisa's growth. This is Lisa doing the work. This is Lisa implementing. But what Lisa got real clear on was a content strategy that spoke to the problems, the challenges, the thoughts, the feelings and emotions, the things that her audience were or were not doing. We got real clear on that because we did a messaging map. And if you were here with us during the super secret segment on workshop number 1, you would have experienced the power of that messaging map. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because when we think about our content strategy, you want as much alignment between the content we're producing to attract our audience, as well as the content that we're providing inside of our membership, right? So the content on the front end generally is going to teach people what to do. The content on the front end is generally going to teach people what to do. Content inside of our membership is going to teach people how to do it. Did you catch that distinction? The content on the front end is going to teach people what to do. The content inside of our membership is going to show people how to do it. That's how the two sync together, to attract our audience and to serve our audience inside the membership. So when we're planning out our content strategy, as you're going to see on page number 5 inside the workbook, there's a variety of things that we want to do. And again, a lot of it will depend on the type of membership that you have. I get that. So if you've got a product-based membership, well, the content in your membership is going to be the monthly deliverable, like the monthly product that you're delivering. If you've got a service-based membership, then the product is going to be the service that you're providing. If you've got a knowledge-based membership, this is where you have some options. And that's what we kind of outline on page number 5 are some of those options. For example, there's the publisher model. And the publisher model is a type of membership where you're publishing just fresh new content, just like a magazine. Now, here's the key lesson that I want you to take from this, because you don't need to be publishing content every single day. That's overwhelming. In fact, what I'd recommend is that you have one primary piece of content per week. One primary piece of content per week. Because what we've got to factor in when it comes to content inside of a membership is we want to factor in not only learning time, meaning the time it takes to consume the content, but we also want to factor in implementation time. So you want to give space for both. And the reality of it is, most of us, we've got busy lives. We got stuff that we're doing. Like in the chat, just for fun and giggles, how many of you have kids? Let me know in the chat, what ages are your kids? So in our household, my wife and I have 2 amazing children. We have our daughter, Marla, and our son, Sam. And my daughter, Marla, turns 13 next week. Somebody, where is the pause button? I'm feeling all the feels on this birthday. I don't know what it is, but she has grown up so fast. So I see, this is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I wish we could share pictures in the chat. That would be awesome too. Well, thank you for sharing. So those of you, oh my goodness, somebody, you've been producing children like crazy. That's a lot of kids. Wowzers. This is a busy group. Wow. Now that would be a crazy household. Allie's got 4 boys, 7, 11, 13, and 15. Jeez Louise, I can only imagine your grocery bill, Allie. That's insane. Wow. Okay, so the reason I'm asking that, for all of you who have kids, you know, life is busy, right? Right? Like kids have got stuff going on, whether it's extracurricular activities, like they got stuff going on at school. Then we have other commitments ourselves, right? You may be coaching teams. Maybe you're very active in your local community, volunteering. Maybe it's in the church. Who knows? We've all got stuff going on. But I'm sharing this with you because, like, so do our audiences. So when oh my gosh, hang on. I just saw it. Sorry. Miriam just caught my attention. Miriam has a 21-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 16-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 10-month-old. Miriam, I bow down. I bow down to you. I bow down to you. That is amazing. Okay. So I share this though because, again, our audiences have busy lives too. So we have to factor that in. We have to create space for both learning time and implementation time. If you just keep loading people up every single day with content inside their membership, they are going to get overwhelmed. That's the number one reason why people cancel from a membership is overwhelm. It doesn't matter what market. Overwhelm is the number one reason that people cancel. So we don't want to load people up. We want to create space for them to learn and do. Learn and do. Right? That's the rhythm that we want. So back to our blueprint. With a publisher model, we are publishing one primary piece of content per week. And I would never encourage you to make that primary piece of content longer than an hour. If it's longer than an hour, again, you make it difficult for people to find the time to be able to consume it, process it, and implement what they've learned. So my sweet spot is generally between 20 to 40 minutes. That's what I'm looking for. And sometimes that could be just a quick little video. Sometimes it might be like a mini session, whatever it might be, right? There's all kinds of deliverables that we can deliver inside of our membership. But a publisher model, that's the rhythm, is one primary piece of content per week. Now, another model is a UPS model. Now, I called it a UPS model because essentially what we're doing each month is we're delivering a package of content. So there's a lot of great examples in our community of people who have UPS models, particularly if they have a membership, a knowledge-based membership that's focused on convenience. Because generally in those memberships, we're delivering a package of content that's going to make somebody's life easier. So like lesson plans would fall into that bucket, right? So I think of Tara Phillips in our community who provides teachers and parents with lessons to help their autistic children. So that she's delivering a package of lessons each month for her audience. Same goes for Julie Soul, who has a membership site delivering art lessons for homeschooling parents and art teachers, right? So there we're delivering a package of content. In that scenario, we essentially have one primary deliverable per month, which is that package of lessons. That might be dripped out each week, but it might most likely be delivered once a month. Now, the next type of membership is a coaching model. Now, this is structured a little bit different. Generally, there's going to be more like interaction with your members of your membership and is really done in a more of a group coaching session. So if you've been on the VIP sessions with us, then you will have experienced a very similar format where you are teaching a little bit, your members are implementing and, having space to do, right? So the learn and the do, but it's generally happening in a more coaching-like format. Then you've got community-based, that's just straight up discussion, right? Then a drip and modular. Now, this is really like a really long course. That's probably the best way to describe it. But I think of Yuri Elkaim. He had a membership in the health space, and he had over 3 years of content like planned out. So he had a piece of content that would drip multiple times a week, and he had created 3 years worth of content. Now, the distinction with that type of membership is that every single person starts at the very beginning of that sequence, right? Whereas the other sites, like a publisher model or a UPS model, whenever somebody jumps in, they immediately get access to past content and they're getting the content for that particular month and forward, right? So a little bit different in terms of the structure and setup. And then there's the combo, which is like elements of, perhaps a community as well as a publisher or a community and coaching. There's all kinds of ways to combine those things. The other thing that I wanted to cover in depth under the content umbrella is I really want to make the distinction between the 3 different types of content. So many times that we clump all content together in our minds, but that's just not true. There are actually 3 different types. The first type is what we call onboarding content. So this is the content that you take every new member through. And the purpose of that onboarding content is twofold. One, it's to help them have a foundational knowledge of what this journey looks like that they are about to go on. So in the chat, I want you to play along with me here. There was something that we covered during workshop number 2 that starts with an S. First word starts with an S. Second word starts with a P. Does anybody know what I'm referring to? Starts with an S. Second word starts with a P. Okay. I see it coming through. Well done, Cheryl, Dr. Gail, Nikki, Shona, Sarah, Hannah, Cindy. We got Hannah. We got Anna. I like it. Karen, well done. Okay, you're right. It's the success path. Now, here's an example of where that success path comes into play. So with our onboarding content, what I recommend is that you have a series of very short videos. When I say short, I'm referring to like 2 to 3 minutes each. You want to have a video for each of the stages of your success path. And what we're doing is we're going to have an intro video. And then let's pretend that we have 5 stages in our success path. Then we're going to create a video for each of those stages. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And during those videos, we are going to talk about what somebody we're going to essentially read the description for each of those for those stages, so that somebody listening to that would be able to say, that's me. Like, I'm at stage 3. By hearing what somebody's life is like at each of those stages, it helps your new member identify where are they in this journey. So we have an intro video, we have a video for each of the stages, and then we have a final video that talks about like what the next steps would be. So if we had 5 stages in our success path, look at the screen. How many onboarding videos would we have? How many onboarding videos would we have? I'm waiting for it. See, I want to test to make sure that you're following along. Okay. For those of you who are not answering 7, look at the screen. I'm trying to help you out. I'm throwing you a bone. Okay. Yes, you're right. For those of you who answered 7, you're right. So again, recap. Your onboarding videos, you'd have an intro video. You'd have a video for each of your stages. If you had 5 stages, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'd have a video to bring it all together. That would make 7 intro videos as part of this onboarding sequence. And the videos, again, would be about 2 to 3 minutes long, and they're going to describe each of those stages. Your intro video would kind of set the tone, would say, listen, it would cast the vision for you to go from just picking up the guitar for the very first time to becoming a world-class session player. There's a journey to that path. And you would talk about like what that journey looks like and how it's broken down. It's an overview. And then you would say, in the next video, I'm going to go into detail regarding what somebody might be like and where their focus should be at stage number 1. And then you would do the same for 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then the final video would be, now where do you think you are in this journey? And so you're getting them to see that this is a journey, that progress happens over time, and you're getting them clear about like, where do you think you land in this? Because that then is going to help them in terms of knowing what to focus on when they get inside your membership. So bottom line is that first type of content is onboarding content. Second type of content is your core content. And your core content, oh my goodness, silly me. I made a mistake. Let me back up. Silly Stu. I meant to say what we just went through, that was your foundational content. Or your, hang on. Okay, I'm back. Let me clarify this again. The first type of content is your onboarding content. And what that is welcoming people to the membership. It is maybe asking people a few questions to identify like where they are in that journey. It also might be showing them where things are in your members area. And so it's like a start here section. That's your onboarding content. The core content is what I was referring to with the success path. So I apologize for that mistake. Victoria says, okay, Stu, we're with you. Okay, good. All right, you're with me. Elbry says, is this your first time? Yes, I'm nervous. You're making me a little nervous. Okay. Yeah, it's the eclipse. Thank you. Yes, I still got eclipse brain. Okay. So you with me, right? 3 types of content. First type is onboarding content. That's where we're welcoming people, thanking them, excited that you're here, kind of casting the vision of what this journey looks like. That's where we're also showing them where they can find things in the members area. Second type of content is your core content. That is your success path. That's short little lessons for each of the stages of the success path with an intro and an outro. And then the third type of content is your core content. This is like your monthly deliverables. So if it was like one of the UPS style memberships with the package of content, then those lesson plans would be your monthly deliverable. If it's a publisher style membership, then your primary piece of content one time a week, that would be your monthly deliverable, right? So generally, most people in their marketing focus on the monthly deliverable content, but I wanted to make this distinction in terms of these three different types: onboarding, core content, and monthly deliverable. Okay. G. Walter says that they're confused, and Member Me says I'm confused. So I made a mistake. So let me try to clarify this up again. Three types of content. First type, onboarding content. This is the content that people see when they first log into your members area. Number one, we absolutely want some kind of a thank you video, right? Thank you videos are really important. For those of you who choose to continue your journey with us, you will see just how important a thank you video is. We pour a ton of time, energy, and effort into that. And there's a reason, because it sets the stage for how people feel and perceive you and the experience they're having the moment that they join. So a thank you video is really important. That's part of your onboarding content. Another thing that's part of your onboarding content is a video that shows people where they can find things in your membership. Where can they find certain types of content? Where can they get support if they need support? Where can they ask questions? If you have a community component, where can they engage in that? There's a video showing them where to find the things. That's part of your onboarding content. Second type of content is your core content. Your core content breaks down your success path in 2 to 3 minute videos for each of the stages of your success path. So if you have 5 stages in your success path, you would have a video for each stage, and then you would have an intro video and an outro video. The purpose of that is to help people see what this journey looks like and to help them see where they are in that journey, to identify where they are in that journey. And it also brings clarity as to where they should put their focus. And the third type of content is your monthly deliverables. This is what you would typically think about that you're providing inside of a membership. So hopefully that has helped create a little more clarity for everybody. Okay. I will answer questions. And Rebecca just said, they're in the workbook. They're in the workbook. She basically said, Stu, stop talking. They're in the workbook. Page number 5. Okay. Let's move on to marketing strategy. So let me just grab a quick drink here. Okay, great. Thank you for in the chat. I appreciate you. Keep me updated. Okay, in the next thing I want to talk about is your marketing strategy. Here's the reality, friends. You can have the greatest membership in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to be able to help anybody. And if you're not helping anybody, well, you're certainly not generating any revenue, right? So the goal of any membership is that we've got to get what we have in front of more and more people. It's like my client Lisa that I was referring to earlier. She's had a membership site for years. It has been steadily growing year over year. She's got the conversion side of it mastered. She's very good at retention. Once members join, she keeps them for a long time, not months, but years. But the biggest area of opportunity for her was growing her audience and getting what she has in front of more people. Now, here's my prediction of what will happen for Lisa. Her next launch for her membership, because she's more than 5x'd her audience size, my prediction is her next launch will be her biggest launch. It makes sense, right? I'm going to just take you to the screen here, and I just want to show you in real time with some membership math. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to plug some numbers in here. Let me just put 20 members in here. Okay, so look, if all things stay the same from a conversion standpoint, and let's just assume that we welcome on average 20 new members a month, at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we would have a total of $151,000 at the end of the year with a 95% retention rate. If all we do is just get in front of more people, and again, everything stays the same, we just get in front of more people, look at the difference that more people can have. We go from 151,000 to 756,000. Like, at the end of the day, we have to get what we have in front of more and more people. It must be a focus for us. So how do we do that? Well, there's all kinds of campaigns. There's all kinds of promotions. There's all kinds of ways to grow your audience. You'll see in the blueprint on page 6, we outline a whole bunch of different promotion types. Many of you have been using one of the promotional types, and that is the founding member launch. And that founding member launch has been working fantastic, right? Like, I've seen in the chat, a whole lot of you have been like, I remember looking at a comment this morning, somebody was saying that they had been thinking about a membership site since 2021, 3 years ago. And this was the year that they finally got out of their own way and utilized one of the promotional types, which is the founding member launch, and they've welcomed more than 20 plus members. Like, how amazing is that? It's just a simple promotional type. And there are all kinds. There's the founding member launch, which we went into detail during the super secret segment last workshop. But then you have things like a standard launch. This is a much more involved launch where you have maybe a number of different elements. There's a bigger build up to a moment when you are then opening or offering your membership. And there's all kinds of examples of those types of launches. We'll kind of unpack those here in just a second. We've got relaunches where, again, you may have a membership that's already up and running. And so the goal then is like, well, how do we create energy and excitement around it so that there's urgency for people to register and join? So let me bring you in on a little secret here. Years ago, when I was business partners with New York Times bestselling author Michael Hyatt, we came together to create a membership site around the content of his book. His book at the time was called Platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. And as we started that membership, we were open all the time, right? We were open all the time. And that's part of, you'll see in the blueprint under marketing plans. There's really two types. There's an open marketing plan and a closed marketing plan. And we had an open marketing plan in the beginning. Now, with an open marketing plan, it means that people can sign up for your membership at any time, 24/7. Now, logic would kind of guide you to think, well, isn't that what we want? Like, don't we want people to be able to buy from us whenever? That would be what logic would tell us. What I knew from years of experience is that just because you are available and people can sign up for your membership doesn't mean that they will. And a general rule of thumb, if you have an open marketing plan, you've got to give people a reason to join today. You got to give people a reason to join today. So if you don't, here's what's going to happen. People will be like, "Ooh, I like this. I'm going to save this for later." And when they do that, later never comes. Like, let's be honest. If you're on Instagram and how many of you have a saved folder of products that you've seen on Instagram that you're like, "Ooh, I like that. I want one of those. I'm going to save this for later." Am I the only one? Am I the only one that has that? Okay. So looks like in the chat, a lot of you have the same. Like, here's mine. Like, legit. I could go down here. I have thousands of products that when I'm on Instagram and I see, I'm like, "Oh, that looks good." Like, let's just pick one random one. Let's pick this one here. What is this? Oh yeah, this is like a tent slash what do you call those things? Like hammock. Thank you, producer Phil. This is like a tent slash hammock, and I'm like, man, that looks cozy. That would be awesome with the kids. Have I bought one? No, I haven't, because I saved it for later. And this is my point. Like, I could legit go through hundreds and hundreds of these products that every single one of them, in the moment, I was very motivated to buy, but I haven't bought any of them except for one. Except for one. And I actually, of the product that I did buy, I bought two of them. And that product was probably one of the more expensive products of all the products that I've saved. But let me ask you a question. Why do you think, or what, let me rephrase that. What do you think gave me a reason to buy that one product, whereas all the other products I've just saved? What do you think was the reason? Ooh. See, you are a smart group of people. Many of you have hit the nail on the head. There was a deadline. There was a deadline by which, if I didn't buy before a certain time, I would have missed out on, in this case, favorable pricing. And to let you know what it was an electric bike. And I bought one for me and my wife. And I remember, I don't know if any of you can relate to this. I remember I was lying in bed with Amy as we were going to sleep. And then I realized, oh my gosh, like the sale for this bike is ending tonight at midnight. And I'm laying there with Amy and I said, Aim, sorry, I don't mean to bring the phone up, but I've been thinking about this bike. And she's like, okay. And I said, do you want to see? So I showed her, because they had a really compelling video, and she's like, yeah, those are cool. I'm like, can you imagine, like, we're out on the trail together and we'd be able to like explore so much more of the trail system? Like, how amazing would that be? This is where I went into, like, I was, trying to hopefully get her on board. And she's like, yeah, that would be so much fun. I'm like, right? And I'm like, well, the thing is they've got a sale. And she's like, when does it end? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it ends in like 10 minutes. She's like, well, okay, well, let's get them. Let's get one for you and me. I'm like, okay. So I remember, like, I was signing up. I was a deadline dancer. Any other deadline dancers? Any deadline dancers? I was a total deadline dancer. I ended up getting my order in. It was like 11:58 p.m. and the sale ended at like midnight. Yeah, I can see some of you are like 100%. That was me. But I but I did. I did. I ended up buying because it was a deadline. So the challenge with an open marketing plan is that if you don't give people a reason to buy today, your membership is going to be one of the many things that people will have saved for later. But if you have an open marketing plan, the one way to counteract that is to have a promotion where somebody gets something extra that month if they sign up by a certain day and time. So the way that we used to do it with Michael, and the way I used to do it with a previous membership that I owned, was we created a series of bonuses, and we would just rotate through these bonuses. So if they signed up by a certain day in the month, they would get a particular bonus. You know, think back to the old Sports Illustrated days. You remember like the special gifts that they would give, you know, at certain times? Like it's the same concept, right? And so if you have an open marketing plan, which is relevant for certain types of markets, the vast majority of markets, I'm going to recommend a closed marketing plan. We'll talk about that in a second. But for some markets, like if you're helping people, like if you're helping pregnant moms, right? Like pregnant moms can't exactly like wait, right? Like if they are pregnant now. Like they can't wait until you open the cart, right? Like they need help now, right? So, okay, open marketing plan makes sense, right? So if that's the case, you still got to give people a reason to buy. So you may want to incorporate some kind of a bonus strategy. Now, when we had Michael's membership, we were open all the time. And we would do this. We would have a different bonus at the end of each month. And to give you a sense of numbers, we would be welcoming anywhere between 100 to 125 new members a month with an open marketing strategy. Then Michael came to me and he said, Stu, I'm loving the growth of the membership. We had grown, at that point, we were probably like about 1,500 members in a span of about 4 or 5 months. And he said, Stu, I'm loving the growth of the membership, but I'm kind of feeling a little bit claustrophobic with my calendar. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I feel like every single month we're having to like promote the membership, and I'd love to create some space in my calendar to be able to talk about some other things like, you know, some upcoming books, some other programs I'd like to offer, etc. I was like, okay. And then I went and realized one of the unique strategies that successful membership site owners were using back in the day when I had my first software company and we were powering over 70,000 online communities and memberships, we could see the few things that people were doing successfully. Producer Phil was taking a picture, so I just had to give him a quick pause. But we could see the few things that people were doing successfully that were growing year over year over year. And so I started paying attention, like, what are they doing differently than everybody else? And what I realized was like there was a few completely counterintuitive strategies that they were using that the vast majority of membership site owners were not. And whereas the vast majority of membership site owners had either plateaued or were slowly declining, this group of people, their memberships were growing year over year over year. So I paid attention to that. And one of the strategies was that they would actually close the doors to their memberships. Close them. And they would only open registration a few times a year. So when Michael came to me, I said, okay, well, let's give this a try. So we were open all the time, and we instead decided to close the doors, and we would only open 4 times a year. So here's the math. When we were open all the time, we would welcome anywhere between 100 to 125 new members a month. When we went down to only opening 4 times a year, in any given promotion, we'd welcome anywhere between 600 to 800 new members. Now, if you're doing the math on that, you're saying to yourself, well, wait a minute, Stu. That means you're welcoming a lot more members with a lot less effort. That's exactly what I'm saying. Now, let's take this a bit further. That started to work really well. And so Michael said, well, what if we went down to 2 promotions a year? Now, admittedly, I was a little bit nervous when he said that because I was like, can we welcome as many members in 2 promotions as we were in 4? But we tried it. And here's the math on that. We went down to 2 promotions a year. We would do 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall. And we would welcome anywhere between 1,500 to 2,500 new members with each promotion. So again, more members, less effort. So with a closed marketing plan, the reason it works so well is because it creates urgency for people to join your membership site before a particular date. There's a real world deadline because if they don't join, they won't be able to get in. And the reality of it is that sometimes people need that reason to get them over the hump. I remember back a few years ago, Jennifer Allwood, who's in our community, amazing human being, she had a membership site for a few years. And in fact, it was about 3 years, and she had grown that membership site to about 750 members, which is pretty darn good, right? Now, she was open all the time. People could join whenever. She would always be constantly promoting it on social media and email, et cetera, et cetera. But 3 years, 750 members. 1 year, she came to me and she's like, I really want to grow this membership. I know that I have the potential to welcome so many more members. I'm just not reaching that potential. And I was like, okay. And she said, so I'm open to any suggestions. And I smiled and she's like, no, I'm not doing that. I said, you're not doing what? She said, I know what you're going to say. I said, what am I going to say? She said, you're going to suggest that I close the membership. I said, yep, that's exactly what I'm going to say. She's like, I don't want to do that. I said, why don't you want to do that? She said, because I don't want to do a big complicated launch. I don't want this. I don't want that, blah, 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 blah. And I said, time out. I said, what if it were easy? What if it were simple? And she said, okay. And she said, I'm listening. And I said, well, Jen, what if we just made it a simple launch, but we closed the doors? She was looking to make some changes inside the membership anyway. I said, so why don't we just use that as the reason that you're closing the doors? And if you don't like it, you can just open it back up afterwards. But if it works like I know it will, what will that then make possible? And she said, well, I'm here because I want to learn how to really grow this thing. She said, so let's go for it. So we talked through a simple plan. For her, she was very comfortable on Facebook Lives. So she just did a series of Facebook Lives and she just talked about the fact that she was closing it and that if you wanted to join at this price, you needed to do it before this date. Here's what happened. Remember, 3 years to get to 750 members. In 1 week, she welcomed 1,100 new members. 3 years, 750 members. 1 week, 1,100 new members. You know what she said to me afterwards? She said she actually had people in her audience who were thanking her for giving them a deadline to join the membership because they kept saying to themselves, ooh, I want to do that. Ooh, I want to do that. Ooh, I want to do that. And they weren't. They were what? Saving it for later. And so it got them over the hump to actually join the membership. It's one of the best things that we can do for people. Because if we are in our membership and committed to actually serving and helping the people that are in the membership, we want to do everything we can to get them in. I don't understand when people are gun shy about talking about their amazing membership. You will never see me shy away from talking about our membership experience program. Why? Because I know the tremendous value that it creates for people. I know how your business and your life will change by being in that program. So am I wanting you in that program? Yes, because I want what it makes possible for you. The same is true inside of your membership. If you're helping people change their health and wellness, don't you want them in that membership if you know that your material works? Yes. If you're helping people change their relationship with their kids or their spouse, don't you want them in that membership? Yes. If you're helping people be able to paint and upgrade their skills and be able to create these beautiful masterpieces, don't you want them in that? Yes. So this is nothing more than a strategy to create a reason for people to join today. And it's worked for Jennifer, and it's worked for thousands of people in our community. One of the bigger stories recently was Allie Kay. Back in September, she had an open marketing model. 2 years, she had welcomed 1,400 members, which again, is pretty good progress. 2 years, 1,400 members. But to her credit, she had the courage to try the closed marketing plan. And here's what's crazy pants. She documented and shared the whole thing in our community. So I'll have to dig up the screenshots and show them to you. But 2 years it had taken her to welcome 1,400 members. In 1 week, she welcomed more than 3,000 new members. 2 years, 1,400 members. 1 week, 3,000 new members. It exploded the growth of her business. So I share this with you because when we talk about marketing strategy, getting clear on what strategy you're going to use is important. And getting clear on the fundamentals that make that strategy work is really important. Because when you get that dialed in, you can get results like Jennifer Allwood. You can get results like Allie Kay. Okay. There's more to unpack in the workbook. I encourage you, as part of your homework, to go through that. The last section I want to cover briefly is the launch strategy. Rebecca on the other side of the camera, she just off her chair. She thought I was wrapping up, but I got more to give you. So Anne just asked real quickly, and I'm going to answer this question. Would you start with a closed membership model? Yes, absolutely. Yes, I would. This is why we do the founding member launch, and there's a deadline by which they must join to be able to get that founding member pricing, right? And as soon as that deadline is over, you close the doors. People cannot join. And then you have time now to just love on the people that you have inside of that membership. And there was a question this morning, somebody posted, what if I only get one member? And I was like, wait a minute, you're making that sound like that's a bad thing. Let me reframe this for you. Okay, this is a reframe. This is a really important mindset reframe. Let's assume one member signs up for your membership. Now, you could feel, oh, one member. I don't know if it's worth it for one member. That could be a mindset. But let me give you a reframe. What if I told you there was an opportunity to get paid to create your membership? What if I told you there was an opportunity to get paid to create an amazing case study that will serve as one of your most valuable marketing assets from this day forward? So not only are you getting paid to create the membership, but you're getting paid to create the most valuable marketing asset you will have in your business. Isn't that like worth your time, energy, and effort to get paid to be able to do those things? Because likely you'd be doing those things for free, but now you're getting paid. It's all about mindset, my friends, and playing the long game of this. So when we talk about the founding member launch, that's where we're starting with. And when there's a deadline, and then we close the doors. And then we have this period of time where we're just loving on our members, helping them experience progress and get results. Meanwhile, as we are doing that, we are building a case study so that those case studies now, when we open the doors the next time, we have these incredible stories that we can share. And those stories will be one of your most valuable marketing assets you will ever have in your business. So hopefully that helps. Okay, let's move on to the launch strategy because I want to cover this before we wrap up here today. When we talk about the different promotions and launches that you could deploy throughout the year, there's all kinds of different ways to be able to get in front of our audience and to be able to attract the people that we want to serve. And inside of our community, I got to give shout outs to, all kinds of people who have innovated in different areas and then generously shared their wisdom and innovation with others in the community. Sarah Williams is a perfect example of this. She's really innovated on a different launch style, which was centered around connecting deeply with her people. We had a conversation and she said, and we were talking about her upcoming launch. And in the conversation, we ended up chatting about some of the things that she has seen in the past that contributed the most to members joining her membership. And one of the things that she said was, Stu, if I can just have like a conversation with potential members, she's like, the members, we just connect on a deep level and then they end up joining the membership. And so from that, I said, well, Sarah, there's a clue there. Like, how could you expand on that? How could you give more of you during a launch so that you can have and develop that connection with your audience in a shorter period of time? And now she's a smart and savvy businesswoman. So she took that and she let it percolate. And then she innovated and came up with this idea of a coaching week. And essentially it's a series of back-to-back sessions where she is coaching people through a particular process. And all throughout that week, she's offering people the opportunity to register for her membership. And each day, there is a incentive or bonus. The earlier they sign up, the more of these incentives and bonuses they get. That's 100% her innovation. And it's rocked our community's world because what's happened is that it worked like crazy for her. It's worked like crazy for others. And this is the kind of magic that happens in our community where people take an idea and then they innovate on it. Another good example of this is Scott Paley. So Scott Paley has a membership site for nonprofit leaders. And I got to share this with you because we got to celebrate Scott. We got a message this morning right here. This is my Impact Mastermind. Everybody in this group has a 7-figure membership site, okay? So Scott, he serves nonprofit leaders, okay? Nonprofit leaders. He just said in the chat here, this is his message here, that he crossed a major milestone today. You want to know what that major milestone is? 6,000 members. 6,000 members. He's in the nonprofit niche. 6,000 members. So I share this because one of the things that Scott innovated on was that with different launches, there are different strategies that you are going to use depending on your growth of that membership. So in the beginning, I want you to follow the founding member launch. I want you to have a closed marketing model. Once you get up to about 2,000 to 3,000 members, then you're going to want to shift gears a little bit. And one of the things that Scott has done to shift gears is he's really mastered an evergreen strategy. So it's not to say that the launches stop working. No, it's just that we utilize another component. And part of that is an evergreen strategy. Another part of that would be called like a flash promo. So as you are closing the doors, you have a opt-in form where people are signing up to be notified the next time that you open those doors. What Scott does is periodically throughout the year, he will run an email-only campaign, giving people a 48-hour window to which they can register for the membership. And in any campaign, he'll welcome anywhere between 300 to 500 new members. And it's the same set of emails every single time. Same set of emails every single time. I'm sharing this because there are many different components inside of a launch. And I'm not going to stand here and suggest that you have to do every single one of these components. What I am going to suggest is that you get creative and lean into the things that feel right for you. If you're comfortable in being in front of the camera, awesome. Leverage that. That's exactly what Jennifer Allwood did. She was comfortable delivering Facebook Lives, so she leaned into that. If you're more comfortable writing, great, lean into that. Perfect example would be like a flash promo where it's email driven. If you're comfortable with going live and doing a live broadcast, great, lean into that. Like wherever your comfort levels lie right now, that's where I'd encourage you to start. Now, as you go along and as you grow and as you get better and build more confidence, I'm going to encourage you to incorporate more and more elements into your launches because that's only going to amplify them, right? But don't think that you have to do everything all at once. I certainly didn't. You know, when I started, I got real clear on a few key things. I got clear on number one, where was I going to build my audience initially? So for me, initially, I began on Facebook. I started from zero. I began on Facebook. And that's where I started building my audience. How did I build the audience? I legit just collected questions that people would ask about growing a membership, and then I would answer them in the form of video content. That's it. Now, I'll give you a little trick, by the way. I'm leaning in for dramatic effect. Here's my little trick. When you create content, at the end of that content, you want to say something like, do you have more questions about, in my case, launching a membership? Then I encourage you to go to www.themembershipguide.com. That's what I use. Now, what I did was I created an opt-in that simply answers the top 10 questions that people have about my subject matter. P.S. Could you do this? Could you brainstorm 10 questions that your market has about your subject matter, put it together in a PDF guide, and now you've got a list builder, right? That you can point people to and begin building your audience and your list with every piece of content that you produce. So that's what I did in the beginning. And then in the email that would send that, I'd always say, P.S. What's your number one most pressing question about growing a membership? And every single day, I would get replies from people with their questions. And that would then inform content that I would create later that week. And so I picked one platform. I didn't try to be on all the platforms. I picked one. Now, I will tell you, my platform of choice has changed over the years. Initially, it was Facebook. But the platform that I love creating on is Instagram today, right? So that's why I was saying to you at the beginning of the call, if you haven't done so yet, I encourage you to go to my Instagram profile and the most recent post, this one right here, I I just created right before we went on here. And that's where I want to encourage you to ask any questions, because later this weekend, I have a block. Oh, shush, Stewie. I have a block carved out to be able to answer those. That's my favorite platform today. So what I'd recommend for you, if you're just in the early stages, pick one platform and then get consistent just answering questions on that platform, being helpful, right? Serving people. And then number 3 is have a call to action for them to either opt in to your guide where you answer more questions if you've got it, or to ask more questions. And that just helps you constantly have a steady stream of ideas to be able to begin building that audience. And then as you're building that audience, then the step is to set a date. So earlier when we did the poll, the biggest group of people were those of you who answered when we asked, when are you doing your founding member launch? The biggest group of people were those of you who said, not yet. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is potentially dangerous for you. Is because if you don't set a date, the date is going to keep getting pushed back. And it's going to be months, then it's going to be years, and you'll have seen all this time fly by. So I want to encourage you as your friend and as your coach to set a date. If it's not this week, no problem. If it's not next week, no problem. But set a date. Because the moment that you set a date by which you are going to share this is the moment that everything gets in motion. Things start to happen. So when we talk about launch strategy, you're going to see on page number 7, under Build Your Launch, one of the very first things that I say is pick a launch date and map out your calendar. So I'm looking at the chat right now. What's your date? May 27th, says Dana. June 1st, says Steve. I love it. July 1st, says Patty. That's Canada Day. I'll be celebrating you. May 21st, fall. No, somebody just said fall of 2024. No. That's not good enough. I want a specific date. I want to be able to hold you accountable. May 1st, says Chris. Melissa, April 19th. April 15th. Tomorrow, says Amy. That's what I'm talking about. April 22nd, August 1st. Monique says yesterday. Well done, Monique. Paula says May 1st. April 30th, I just saw fly by. July 1st. There's a whole lot of you going on July 1st. That's awesome. We should have like a launch party together. Relaunch April 22nd. That is fantastic. Love that. Yesterday, I saw, was last week. Amazing. May 6th, September 1st, May 5th. This is excellent. Friends, I'm proud of you for committing to that, because I know that just consciously putting a date out into the universe, like that can be scary, because at that point, what happens? Well, now there's a sense of accountability, right? It begins to make it real. Like, I don't want you dancing around the idea of launching. Like, I want you launching. I want you generating recurring revenue, right? You're never going to reap the benefits of a recurring revenue membership if you don't launch your membership. Somebody just said, I'm helping you go from dreaming to doing. That's exactly it. Like, I love big dreams. I love big dreams. But I love you pursuing those big dreams even more. So you got to pick a date. And I want to encourage you to keep it as simple as possible. And when I say that, the other things that begin to get in the way, that hold people back, you can find on page 10. Common roadblocks. And I'm going to pull them up here for a second. Let me just see here. Yeah, it's okay. I got them. Yeah, thank you. When we think about things that prevent people from actually launching and growing their membership, one of the common roadblocks is thinking that your audience is too small. Thinking your audience is too small. Anybody feel that one? I see some in the chat saying yes. Thank you for being honest. Well, I've got good news. Having a small audience can actually work to your advantage. Now, if you got a big audience, you have a different set of advantages. But if you've got a small audience, let's talk about the advantage that you have. What I know to be true, because I've been doing this for a long time, is that with a smaller audience, you have the opportunity to form a much deeper, more intimate relationship with that audience. And as a result of that, you get to know them and have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in their lives in a much more detailed way than somebody who has a big audience can, right? And because of that, when you make an offer, you will see much higher conversion rates. And that's why, like, when it comes to founding member launches, like, you will see much higher conversion rates with smaller audiences than you will with bigger audiences. And so use that to your advantage. Like, when you have a smaller audience, I want you to use that. Have, one-on-one conversations, talk to people, like, engage with people. Find out what's going on in their mind. Find out, like, what they're thinking about, why they are joining, why they're not joining. Like, have conversations with them, because that's going to inform your conversations with others and increase your conversions even more. So, perfect example of this. Here's Brianna. She is in the most unique market. I had never heard of this market until Brianna and I chatted just a couple weeks ago. She has a membership site called the Kitty Crochet Club. Now, believe it or not, her membership focuses on crocheting these little kitty figurines. Like, I said, Brianna, I'm like, okay, explain this to me again. She's like, Stu, it's a thing. There's like, as a group of us that love crocheting these little kitten characters. And I was like, my goodness me, tiny audience, but she has a successful membership site that continues to grow. Here's Bronte. She teaches people how to learn and speak multiple languages. Bronte's going to be my go-to girl, because my goal is to be speaking fluent Swahili by summer of 2025 when we go back with our charity. She didn't have a gigantic audience when she launched her membership, but her membership now is making enough that it is covering everything that she needs in that business. Her business is operating and running fully powered by the membership recurring revenue. Here's Lisa Spector. Lisa teaches advanced classical pianists to learn twice as much in half the time. She does not have a huge audience, but oh my goodness, does she have an incredible relationship with her audience. And as a result, her membership has been steadily growing, and she significantly raised the price And she has shared so many stories with our community of how, like, as an example, she was moving and she has this beautiful, like, grand piano in her home, and it's expensive to move a grand piano. So she did a promotion to her small audience and she just shared that story. And she offered a limited number of lifetime subscriptions to be able to generate a whole bunch of money up front. Boom. Almost instantly paid for all the costs to move her grand piano to her new location. Like, this is what happens when you have a small audience that you've got an amazing relationship with. Now, another common roadblock is thinking that, well, I don't know if I want to get on a membership site because I don't want to be stuck on a content treadmill. And there's no such thing as a content treadmill in a membership if you've got the right strategy. So, for example, when I was business partners with Michael Hyatt, he was super busy. He didn't have a lot of time to be able to create content on a regular basis. He was traveling 30 to 40 times a year for a speaking engagement. So you had a day on the front, a day on the back for travel. He was gone over 100 days a year. In addition, he was blogging every day and he was podcasting once a week. So what we did was we devised a content strategy whereby we would produce a year's worth of content over the course of 6 days. So we would do 3 2-day video shoots, and they would be back to back to back to back to back. We'd take that content, boom, we'd produce it, schedule it. And when we parted ways as business partners, all amicably, I actually went so that I could start pursuing this and teaching you. When we did that, we had content scheduled more than a year out in advance. So there was no content treadmill, right? It's just about having a proper strategy in place to be able to produce that content. Sometimes people will say, well, what if I'm in a tiny niche and I don't know if the market is big enough? Can I build a viable business in this tiny market? Well, the answer to that is a resounding yes. Tons of great examples of this. Here's Joy. She has a multi-million-dollar membership teaching and helping moms start preschools. Multi-million-dollar business. Teaching and helping moms start preschools. Here's Dewan Johnson. He helps actors get booked off the back of their audition tapes. His membership had a big breakthrough this year. Super stoked for him. And it all came down to him for messaging. Shifted his messaging, boom. Things started converting. But again, tiny niche. Speaking of which, here's Julie Roy. She helps alpaca farmers who want to create a profitable alpaca business. I said, Julie, am I hearing this right? Like, you're helping alpaca farmers? And she said, yeah. She said, I used to have my own alpaca farm. She sold it just before the pandemic. The pandemic hit and she saw a whole bunch of other alpaca farmers struggling. So she wanted to just help. So she ended up starting this membership site that's focused on helping these alpaca farmers build a profitable alpaca business. How amazing is that? And P.S., by the way, Julie's in her 70s, starting a new business in her 70s. Can we give it up for Julie? Like, she's amazing. We mentioned Scott earlier. His membership is at Nonprofit Leadership Lab. Now, the reason I want to bring up Scott is because he's not the expert in his membership. Now, you might be thinking that, well, what if I don't know if I can do this? Like, I'm not the expert. Well, neither is Scott. Scott's not the expert. No, and if you don't feel like you are the expert, let me share with you some pretty amazing options. Number one is you can just partner with an expert. Like, that's exactly what Scott did. So he partnered with a woman, her name is Joan Gary. Joan is the expert. She is the one who helps nonprofit leaders. And Scott partnered with her and they created the Nonprofit Leadership Lab. So Joan is out front teaching. Scott is behind the scenes growing the membership. Now, as I just said, they crossed an incredible milestone of more than 6,000 members in their membership. How incredible is that? Right? So even if you don't think you're the expert, you have options. One, you could partner with people. Number two is you could just curate the experience for people. So a good example of that is John Gallagher. He has a membership site called herbmentor.com. And now, when John started that site, he was not the expert. He just had a passion for natural herbs and remedies. So what he did was he created a safe place for people who have the similar passion and interest. And then he asked them questions, what they were looking to learn. And then he went out and he found the experts, brought them in, and they taught within the membership. So he curated the experience. He wasn't the expert teaching. He curated the expertise and has thousands of members inside of that membership. So you've got options. Here's another perfect example. It's another Scott Curran. Scott joined our community, didn't know what kind of membership he was looking to create, ended up creating a membership site for dentists who specialize in the procedure of Invisalign. Now, here's what's fun about Scott. He created this membership site for dentists, but he's not a dentist. What? Well, here's what Scott did. His buddy, Ryan, was a dentist. Very successful dentist, in fact. You know, the average dentist will do 5 to 6 of those Invisalign procedures a year. Ryan, he's like the Michael Jordan of Invisalign. He does like 500 to 600 of those procedures a year. And one day, their buddies, they're at a barbecue. Ryan, who's the dentist, tall guy, 6'8", complaining about his back hurting because he's over the chair all the time, you know, doing these procedures with his patients. Scott says, have you ever thought of maybe starting a membership site and reducing your client load? And Ryan initially was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want my competitors knowing my secrets. Scott's like, oh, okay. Another year goes by, same barbecue, same complaint. Ryan's like, my back is killing me. Scott's like, what about that idea of the membership? Ryan's like, tell me more. They end up partnering together. And that membership site in the beginning was slow going. They didn't have an audience. Took them a while. But now, I just recently interviewed Scott Curran. Their membership is $3,000 a year, and they've had more than 6,000 people join that membership. I know. Some of you are doing the math. Wait a minute. Hang on, Stewie. Let me look here. 3,000, 6,000. Yeah. Shernette just did the math. More than $18 million of revenue from a membership serving dentists who specialize in Invisalign. Do you see how niche that is? But not only that, but like Scott has created this membership site and he's not the expert. You know what Scott does? His quote day job? He's a lawyer helping nonprofits. So he talks about his day job is a lawyer, and then he's got this mega membership site as his side gig. Crazy, right? I'm sharing this with you because so often we get in our heads and we overthink things and they prevent us from moving forward. So you don't need a big audience to be able to do this. You don't need to be the expert. You won't get stuck on a content treadmill when you got the right strategies. And if you've ever thought, well, Stu, why would somebody join my membership? There's a ton of free content out there. I want you to listen in because this is really important. If you're in a market where there's a lot of free content, I want you to celebrate because that means you are in a perfect position. Perfect position. Because what a lot of free content does is it creates overwhelm. A lot of free content creates overwhelm because you have so many different people giving so many different ideas that are taking you in all kinds of different directions. And then what ends up happening is you don't end up making any meaningful progress in any one direction. So you end up just like spinning in circles. And there comes a point in time when people just get fed up with spinning their wheels. What they really want is they just want somebody to cut through the clutter and say, oh, based on where you're at, here's your next steps. They just want someone to simplify the process for them. They just want someone to guide them and make it easy. So if you're in a market where there's a ton of free content out there, then there's a massive opportunity for you to be able to cut through the clutter for your audience and to be able to set them up for success by creating a path, a success path. And when you do that, you immediately stand out from everybody and every other option that's available to them. Will there be people that will still try to consume all the free? For sure there will be. But there will also be a lot of people who will be drawn to you because they are tired of the frustration. They're tired of spinning their wheels. They're tired of the overwhelm. And they're just ready to begin making some meaningful progress. And I'll give you an example of this. And then we'll look to wrap up and we'll look to answer some questions. So my wife and I, we eat pretty healthy in our family, right? And but one of the things that we've been paying attention to, I don't want to say as I'm getting older, but you know, when you get past this, like Maddie over here, she hasn't experienced this yet. She's still a young pup. But like when you get to like a certain age, like the body doesn't process things like it used to, you know? Like it takes a little bit longer or like it just things are just different. And Amy and I started noticing that like even though we thought we were eating healthy, we could raise our game. So Hilda says you have no idea. Maybe I've got more to experience. But anyway, we started noticing this. And so Amy started doing some Google searches, like, again, trying to, research, trying to think through healthy options, meals, snacks for the kids, snacks for me. Because when I'm in work mode, and I generally like left to my own device, I go into a cave and don't eat. And then I come out like 9-10 hours later and I'm like, gosh, I'm hungry. Like it's not, I have those things, right? So we're researching all the options. And then the options become overwhelming. Like, do you know how much free content is available online when it comes to healthy recipes and healthy approaches and what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat? And what if you're, training for like a marathon or something like that, which I may or may not be. If I'm doing that, then there's different things that I've got to eat because I'm burning so many carbs and things and stuff. You know what we ended up doing? We just ended up hiring somebody to help us. Why? Because even though there's so many free options available, we just wanted somebody to cut through the clutter and tell us exactly what to do. And that's why people will join your membership. So if you're in a market where there is a ton of free content, I want you to celebrate because that means there's a big opportunity to be able to simplify things for your audience too. All right, friends, we have been going for quite a while, and we barely scratched the surface on a lot of these areas. I want to encourage you, when we're finished, part of your homework is to go through the membership blueprint together. Coming up here in a minute, we have a super secret segment. And during the super secret segment, it is going to be very special because we're going to talk about pricing. And specifically, I'm going to be talking about how to make your pricing feel like an absolute no-brainer. No matter what price you want to offer it as, I will show you a secret marketing tactic that will make it feel like an absolute no-brainer. So you'll absolutely want to stick around for the super secret segment. But homework number one, I want you to continue going through the membership blueprint. This is something that you'll refer to again and again and again. Number two for your homework is I want you going to Instagram and I want you finding that post right there that says membership questions. And I want to encourage you to put your question in the comments. I will be answering those over the next few days myself. So make sure you do that. And I'm going to try to answer as many of those as possible because I know that there's a lot of questions that you have that we might be answering, might not be. We try to answer as many as we can, but I'm going to try to answer a ton over the next couple of days. So make sure you go to Instagram and specifically that post that says membership questions. Okay, Bexter.
Hey, Stu.
Howdy. We're going to go to a quick break.
Mm-hmm.
When we come back, we're going to do the super secret segment. Am I right?
We are. Yes, we have a great story from Cody Birch coming up. Before we get to that break, though, I just want to remind everyone that we do have a membership masterclass happening on Sunday, April the 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have not registered yet, the link is just below us right now. So make sure that you get on that link. And then I think that's it, Stu. We are ready to hear from Cody. And then I know I see a lot of eager people for this secret segment. So let's get to the story from Cody and then dive into the pricing.
All right, let's do it.
Felt real when this was like a serious amount of money coming into the business each month. My name is Cody Birch. I work with online experts that run a course or a membership site, and they help people with their experience and their expertise. So my current business, I have two memberships. One is a higher level mastermind. And in the mastermind, it's 6-month cohorts. We do in-person storytelling based events. I help them with their lead generation, their list building, their offer creation to make sure they can also run a laid back online business as well. And then support them with ongoing coaching and support and accountability. And then I have a low ticket membership, which is, I think it's the most fun thing I do. I bet people would want to be a part of a membership that watched me build this business back from scratch. And so I started a low ticket membership. It's called The Blueprint, and they get a weekly private newsletter, a weekly private podcast, and then a members area where they can see behind the scenes of the business. So I first got into memberships when I hosted live events, and I would try to do everything I could to sell tickets to the live events. And the event went well, but I thought I really could use a community of people. So I'm not just going out to the masses and trying to sell event tickets. I started a membership, and that was in 2019 that I launched the membership. So Round 2 Entrepreneurship, I knew I wanted to create recurring revenue as quickly as I could. And so the first move I did was sell high ticket VIP days where I could implement people's marketing strategies for them. And then I did enough of those. I did about 50 or 60 of those and realized a lot of the people had the same problem. And so I turned that into a mastermind where I could help a group of people all at once and transition that experience into a recurring revenue model. And then the second piece of that was a few months later is when I started the low ticket membership, just on an experiment that people might want to pay an amount of money to watch me build this business back from scratch, and they would find it interesting because it might work, it might not work, but this game is so fun and so interesting, I thought people would want to do that. So now my recurring revenue is so stable because of the two memberships that I run that I don't need to mess with the VIP days as frequently or create a bunch of new offers every month. When the first member joined, it felt awesome. And I remember the exhilarating feeling of kind of doing the math. Okay, this many paid this amount, this many paid this amount, seeing the payment notifications come in, and it felt awesome. I took my founding member launch, which I did in August And 2 months later, did a more traditional, bigger launch in October. So just 2 months later. And so I had the momentum, I had the wins from the group, I had people making progress and saying nice things about me. And I was obsessed on their progress and their results and turned that right into another traditional launch. So then that's when it really felt real, when this was like a serious amount of money coming into the business each month. It allowed me to make decisions more freely and less due to possible revenues. I could just live off that recurring revenue and keep growing that over the time. Yeah, the reason I liked memberships is it gave me a group of people that I could focus on and love on and serve so that they would make progress in their business and in their life, that they would experience the transformation that the membership provided. And then it became this snowball that kept growing and growing and growing. So then when I would launch a new product, or I would launch a new mastermind, I would host a new live event, or I would, even when I came back online after taking 6 months off last year, I had that amount of momentum. And the first group of people I reached out to was my former members of the 3-year membership, and tell them what I was up to and what are they working on and what problems do they have. And it just gave us such a base of revenues, and then a base also of case studies in the marketplace and real life examples where I didn't have to think, I wonder what people are struggling with, or I wonder where they might be stuck. I wonder what they might really want in the next phase of their business. I had a base of customers I could go to know, to interview them, to talk with them, and to create products that would serve them and help them keep going. Being part of Stu's membership community has meant the world to me. After I took my business offline for 6 months and then it abruptly ended, then I had to come back online. The first moves I made were because of Stu and because of the community, jumping on Q&A calls, chatting with members of his team, getting the clarity and the guidance and the vision from him on what he would do if he was in my situation, and then starting to put those plans into action. It caused my second round of entrepreneurship to come back online much quicker and with much more ease than I thought possible. And within a few months of coming back online, I was right back where I was. Memberships for me have created so much consistency of my thoughts, of what I want to create, who I want to serve, how I want to serve them, the amount of transformation I can consistently provide to groups of people while creating a base of recurring revenue for my business. So I'm always on the lookout for a way that any business can turn their existing, if they have a course, if they have a mastermind, if they have an events-based business, or if they run summits or challenges or boot camps, there's a membership waiting in there for people to create that amount of consistency and momentum that can just grow over time.
All right, friends, we are back for the super secret segment for this workshop number 3. This is all about pricing. And I get a lot of questions all the time about what should I price my membership at? So in the chat, I want to do a little interactive session with you. In the chat, let me know what type of market you are in. What is the market that you will be serving with your membership? Because pricing actually does matter when it comes to the market. So I see Sue said art, weight loss, I see coming through, spiritual, mindset coaching, Islamic art, health and wellness, mental health, nutrition, grandparents, crafting, entertainment. Kirsty said realistic drawing. BG said sewing, birth and parenting. Oh my gosh, there's so many great markets, friends. Sherry said hairstylists. Harry said health. Diane said homemade pierogi makers. Wow, Diane, I think that would be a first. I don't know that we have any homemade pierogi maker memberships. Let's see here. We got new mom, says Jerica. Breastfeeding mom, says Arlie. Jerica, meet Arlie. There might be some collaboration opportunities. Personal finance, women in the public sector, authors, says Ray. Essential oil enthusiast, says Chris. Creative business, art, says Third. Life coach. This is amazing. Friends, I hope like in you sharing in the chat, I hope you are also seeing that there's other people that you could potentially collaborate with, right? And work with. You teach in their membership, they teach in yours. You could help create content for one another, promote each other. Like there's tons of amazing opportunity there. Now I'm asking you about this because as we think about pricing, the market and the nature of the topic is going to influence the price point that we offer it as. I'm going to give you some general ballparks And then I'm going to get into specifics of no matter how you want to price your membership, how to make it feel like an absolute no-brainer. So general ballpark, if you are in a market that teaches people how to make money or save money, you generally can charge a higher price point. And when I say a higher price point, I'm talking typically $100 or more per month, right? Again, if you're in a market where you're teaching people how to make money or save money, generally you can charge a higher price point, $100 or more per month. If you're in a market, like many of you are, that would be more soft skills, like relationships, art, home decorating, crafting, that kind of thing. Generally, what I typically see a sweet spot being is somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 a month up to $50 a month. Now, there are exceptions for sure, right? There are exceptions for sure that can charge more. But generally, the sweet spot for those soft skill type memberships are going to be in the neighborhood of $20 to $50 a month. Now, I do sometimes see people grossly undercharge and will have a membership site for like $3.99 a month or something crazy like that. Like the other day, I was doing a session for a group of incredible influencers. This was for Meta, like, Facebook and Instagram. Like it was for them, and it was a group of Canadian influencers. And there's some unbelievable people in that group, like people who've got, incredible followings. And one gentleman, I had to have like a bit of a heart-to-heart with him because he had a membership site. He's a photographer, super skilled and talented photographer, helping other photographers. He had a membership site and he was charging $3.99 a month. I'm like, dude, time out. Like, man, what you're communicating to your audience in a subtle way is that you yourself don't believe in the value of the transformation you're creating in the lives of your members. And if you don't value it, your audience won't either, which explains why he was having trouble from a conversion standpoint, even though the price was only $3.99. So, as a general rule of thumb, you may start your founding member launch price less than $20 a month. But I want you to set that at a minimum to be your regular price moving forward. Because the value of what you create far supersedes $20 a month. But what I'm going to show you now is that no matter what you decide to price your membership at, there's a way to position your membership so that it feels like an amazing deal for your audience. And I'm going to frame this up by asking you some questions. What are the cost of blueberries in your grocery store these days? What does it cost for like a pint of blueberries in your grocery store? Let me know in the chat. What does it cost for a pint of blueberries? Okay. It depends on where you're living. Clearly, look, we got some here. Yeah, somebody just said, is it organic? But I'm seeing like anywhere between $4. I've seen up to $8.99. And we've got our peeps in the UK are saying £5.99. Okay, perfect. So what I can tell you is like here in Canada, where we live, a pint of blueberries these days is right around $7, $8. Yeah, Arzell just said, $8 to $12, depending on if it's organic. But let's just say here in Canada, it's $8. Imagine now You go into the grocery store. Let's just pretend for all of us that the price of blueberries is regularly $8. You go into the grocery store and you see that the blueberries are $4 off. A $4 discount on a pint of blueberries. In the chat, how are you going to feel if you love blueberries and you see that there's a $4 discount on the, yeah. Somebody just said, load up. OMG, yay, says Brandy. Somebody just said, what's wrong with them? Are they bad? A lot of you are excited. Some of you are skeptical. Fair enough. Some of you are stocking up, bulking up. Karen just said she's going to buy 3, right? We're like pumped. We're pumped. There's, $4 off is a big deal. Now imagine completely different scenario. Let's say you're in the market to buy a new car. You go to the dealership, you find a car. Nobody likes buying a car, right? Does anybody like buying a car? The whole experience sucks. Anyways, there's an opportunity for complete innovation in that industry, but I digress. You find a car that you like. You start talking to the salesperson. And the salesperson said, I got a deal for you. You said, really? You lean in close. There's like this element of excitement that starts to bubble up. I wonder what the deal's going to be. And so he says to you, I'm going to give you $4 off the car. $4? $4? In the chat, how are you going to feel if that salesperson offers you a $4 discount on the car? How are you going to feel? Insulted, said Virginia. Annoyed. Somebody just said, nah, buddy. Bye, right? Yeah, like we're going to feel completely different. Now, here's the irony of this whole situation. It's the same $4. It's the same $4. In one scenario, a $4 discount gets us pumped and excited. In another scenario, the same $4 has us feeling insulted, said Peter Baxter. Great to see you, buddy. So isn't that interesting? How the same $4 discount can produce 2 totally different feelings. Why is that? It's all about context. And it's all about contrast. So what I want to show you now is how to control the framing of your pricing so that no matter what price you decide, it will feel like it will feel like a good deal, like the blueberry scenario, and not an insult like the car scenario. So let's get into this. I'm going to pull this up. What I want to talk about is creating contrast using a price decoy. So a few years ago, actually, I got to be honest, it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I interviewed a New York Times bestselling author. His name's Dan Ariely. He wrote the book called Predictably Irrational. Great book. In chapter 2, he shared a story about the magazine The Economist. Do you know the magazine The Economist? Okay. And they were doing some price testing. And what they did was they tested 2 different prices. So we're going to come to the middle screen here, and I'm going to walk you through this. And in the chat, I want you to participate, okay? So when I talk about using a price decoy, I'm talking about controlling the framing of the price. This is what I'm referring to here as controlling the framing of the price. This is why this is important. So here's The Economist magazine. Initially, they offered 2 options. You could get the online-only version of the magazine for $59, or you could get the print-only version for $125. Now, in the chat, which option do you think most people chose? Do you think it was the online only option at $59? Or do you think it was the print only option at $125? Okay, so I'm seeing a whole bunch of online. I see a couple print. But the majority of what I'm seeing, okay, I see a few more print. Interesting. Great. This is going to be a great exercise for everybody. I'm seeing some online. Brenda Starr, good to see you. Okay. Great. Thank you for participating. Let's take a look at the screen now in terms of what actually happened. So when they only had these two options, the online only option for $59 or the print only option for $125, here's what happened. 68% of the people chose the online, 32% of the people chose the print. Then they introduced a third option. Now, the third option was the print and web subscription for the price of $125. And you might be saying, wait a minute, Stewie, you may have that eclipse brain again. I think you made a mistake. Because you said it was the same price as the print. So the online only option was $59. The print only option was $125. And then the third was the print and web option for $125. Here's what happened. Now, when these three options were presented, people initially were comparing the price of $59 to $125. And $59 won out 68% of the time. But in the second scenario, with the three options, now people aren't comparing the price of $59 to $125. They're comparing the value difference of the $125 to $125. And they're saying to themselves, why would I ever pick the print only option? Like, who's going to make that choice? They'd be an idiot. Maybe the economist made a mistake here. I'm going to pick the print and web only. And this is what happened. 16% of people picked the online only option. 0% of people picked the print only option. And 84% of people picked the print and web option. And here's why this is so significant. Because look at the swing of percentages of people that selected now the $125 option. Before, it was only 32%. Now, 84% of their customers are paying $125. So they significantly increased the average transaction value for the vast majority of their clients and customers by simply introducing a price decoy. So then the question becomes, okay, how can I use this in my membership? That's what I want to show you how to do. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Let's take a look. How can you use this pricing contrast in your own membership? Let's pretend that you wanted your membership to be the low-priced option. In this scenario, you would contrast it to something that is a much higher price. So in the example you see on the screen, you can see option number 1 is $47 a month. Option number 2 is $147 a month. But the value difference between option 1 and option 2 is minimal. So what happens is because you're contrasting it to something of much higher value, but a much higher price, but the value is pretty much the same, it makes option 1 feel like a no-brainer at $47 a month. If you didn't have the contrast of option 2, or you didn't have it something to contrast it to, then what would happen is now the customer is going to compare your $47 price to something. And you have zero control over that. They may compare it to a competitor's product. They may compare it to free content online. They may compare it to a whole bunch of stuff. But when you create this contrast, it makes now option 1 feel like a no-brainer because it's almost the same value as the $147 a month option, but it's only $47. Okay. What if you wanted to do it the other way? What if you wanted to position your membership as the high price? Well, in this scenario, you can see there's 2 options. There's the $37 a month. That's the decoy. And then there's the $47 a month option. Now, the big difference, as you can see, is the $47 a month has way more value, but it's only a little bit more in price. Do you see how that contrast makes it feel, again, like a no-brainer, even though it's the higher priced option? So there's all kinds of ways to use this. This is just 2 examples. But what I'm sharing, the reason I'm sharing this with you is because you and I, when we present our price, we must look to control the framing of that price. So having different options like The Economist magazine or like the examples I just laid out, that is a way to be able to make it feel like a no-brainer when you use the contrast properly. Like the car wash that's right across the road from our office. They do this beautifully. It is a service-based membership. And you can go through the car wash one time for $10. Or you can go through an unlimited number of times for $12 a month. So do you see? The contrast is there, right? Like, yes, you can go through one time, but in your mind, you're thinking, well, if I just pay a couple extra bucks, I can go through an unlimited number of times this month. And that's how they make their membership feel like a no-brainer. And there's other ways that you can make your price feel like a no-brainer too. Let me share an example. The other option is to break the price down. So here's what I mean. When I talk about breaking the price down, I don't want you to frame it as though it's $30 a month. A better way to frame it is to say that it's less than $1 a day. It's less than $1 a day. Doesn't that feel, again, like a no-brainer? It's not $30 a month. It's less than $1 a day. When you break the price down, it begins to feel like an even easier decision. Here's an example of how we use this in the real world. My wife and I, we have our own membership. You can find it at bookmembership.com. We started it because what we realized was that there were a lot of books that we had good intentions of reading, but we just never got around to it. So we created a book membership where the goal is not to read a whole bunch of books throughout the year, but it's to go deep in a few meaningful books. And we've had incredible authors who have joined us. We typically will read about 6 to 8 books a year. And we do 2 things. This membership is real simple. We do 2 things. Number 1 is we have like a mastermind-like discussion about each of the books that we're reading. And then number 2 deliverable is that we invite the author of these books and we have a roundtable discussion with the author. It's incredible. Like, these are authors that have sold millions of copies of their books. But when we frame this up, it's not $20 a month. It's less than 67 cents a day. I mean, that's a no-brainer. To be able to have access to these incredible authors, to be able to, mastermind around the topics of these books, and to be able to get the most out of these incredible books and apply them in our lives, like for 67 cents a day, it feels like a no-brainer because it is. The value feels significant compared to the price because it is because we're also breaking the price down. Here's another way that we do it. Our signature course, where we show you exactly how to go from starting a membership or an idea for a membership all the way to launching it, to growing it, to scaling it, where we talk about content strategy, marketing strategy, launch strategy, retention strategy, community strategy. Our program, our signature program, is $2,497. But when you break the price down, you start to realize just how easy of a decision this can be. Because it's not $24.97. It's 7 members at $30 a month. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, if all you do as a result of joining us in the membership experience is welcome 7 new members, not 7 new members every month, 7 new members total at $30 a month, this course has paid for itself over the year. What? That's how you make a price feel like a no-brainer and demonstrate the value of what you're providing. Like, when you join the membership experience, and I hope you do, are you going to get more than one idea to welcome 7 members at $30 a month? Come on. Of course. You're going to get so many more ideas, right? You've probably gotten ideas here throughout this free workshop that will help you welcome more than 7 members. But if all you do is get one idea to help you welcome 7 new members total at $30 a month, just through the compounding nature of a membership, that course is paid for itself. The value of that course is framed up in a way that helps you realize the value of being in that program. The same is true inside of your membership. So one way to make your price feel like a no-brainer is to have a price decoy like we shared with the Economist example. Another way to make your price feel like a no-brainer is to break that price down. Generally with memberships, you are far better off framing it in terms of what the price would be per day, or I've seen some do it per week, because that's easier for people to digest, and it becomes like, it's like pocket change, like 67 cents a day. It's like you dig in your couch and find 67 cents. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you make your price feel like a no-brainer, regardless of what price point you choose and decide on. Okay. So with that, I mentioned our signature program, the membership experience, and I've seen in the chat, people were asking about, like, what is it? When does registration open? Registration doesn't open until officially Monday, but would you like a sneak peek of what that program is all about? Would you like a sneak peek? If so, all you got to do is go to this URL you'll see on the screen. You can't register yet. You can't register yet, but you will get a chance to see it before everybody. And there's a reason you'll want to do that. We have some fast action bonuses for those who get in early. So by just going to membershipworkshop.com/sneak-peek, you'll be able to see all the details of the program. You'll be able to see the breakdown and the price and all the good stuff. And that officially will open on Monday. Okay. So with that, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open it up for some rapid fire questions. My hope is today has been very powerful for you in terms of just getting clear about the overarching path of a membership and what goes into a successful membership. I hope today's super secret segment about pricing, sparked some ideas for you and how to frame up your pricing and to create that contrast to make it feel like an absolute no-brainer. And I'm looking forward to answering questions. We're going to do some now. I'm going to do some over the week on Instagram. So if you haven't, if your question doesn't get answered here, go on Instagram on that post. Definitely ask it there. But Bex, let's rock and roll.
I don't know if you've seen that post lately, Stu, but you're going to be busy this weekend. Just letting you know.
Oh, really? I haven't, because I've been talking.
If you want to have a look. And also, while you guys are dropping your questions in the comments and our team is collecting them and putting them on a doc for me, Stu, we have a little thing we need to get cleared up.
Okay.
Something that came up a little bit earlier with the team. Tennille from our team was going through and just working on the transcripts for some of our videos in Searchy. And when you call yourself Stewie, Searchy is spelling it STEWIE. How would you spell Stewie? Because she's like, what do I correct this to?
It's STUEY.
EY.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm waiting to
Stewie?
Stewie? Okay, Janet was right on that. Yep. Stewie eats Stewie.
Oh, boy.
Oh gosh. Oh, here we go. We're open to can of root here. Or a can of stew.
Okay. Oh, all right. All right.
Okay. All right. I see some questions popping up here, so I'm gonna head to this doc for producer. I almost called you Professor Dean. Have we got the timer ready for Stu's fast action? Not fast action. What's happening with me right now? It's the eclipse all week. All right, we ready?
Okay, let's rock and roll.
Okay, Amina say, my target audience does not usually have much expendable income. I'd rather be able to help thousands of people at an affordable price than just a few. I plan on offering a second tier with more content for those who can afford it. What are your thoughts?
Well, initially, I'd recommend that you go out with one tier because 2 tiers adds a whole nother layer of complication. So just keep that in mind. 1 tier in the beginning, you can always add a second tier down the road. However, when we talk about our market and trying to gauge, how much they do or don't have to invest in, I would just encourage you to be careful about your own limiting beliefs when it comes to your market and their price. Because I've actually seen people in soft skilled markets who have much higher price points than what we discovered. And it's because they just didn't limit themselves to those numbers. However, start low and you can always raise your price as you go. And that rewards those early members. And that'd be my #1 recommendation.
I think, I don't know why I didn't think about this till today, but I feel like we should shorten the time, like 45 seconds. Really just challenge you, Stu.
Okay.
45 seconds? Want to try? Because I think you've got a cadence now. Like, I think it's ingrained in you now. So
Okay. All right. Let's go for it. I'm down for a challenge.
Okay, Camilla also has a bit of a question about tiers, but it's a little bit different. So Camilla's saying, I'm planning a 2-tier membership with tutorial only or tutorial plus kit. Which should I lead with? The base package with an upsell or the combo package with the option to just buy the monthly tutorial? Both have the same community component and value attached.
The key with that is you have to be able to explain the difference between the 2 experiences. So it would be like going to a concert. We're all watching the same concert, but depending on where your seats are, you're going to have a totally different experience. If you're up in the boonies, you're going to have a different experience than somebody who is front row. Same concert, different experience. So you want to be able to clearly explain the difference between those 2 experiences, the digital only or the digital with kit. Why would somebody pick the kit and how will that help them do whatever you're teaching better, easier, faster? So you got to be clear on the difference between the 2.
I saw a panic there though, so I'm sticking with the 45 seconds. Okay, let me see. here. Karen's asking, do you recommend having only a monthly payment price or a combo of monthly and annual?
That's a personal preference. I think you can have, monthly and annual. To me, those are kind of like standard membership offers. Generally, in the beginning, again, I want to help you keep it as streamlined as possible and as easy as possible. So generally, I would say pick, one or the other. But, if you're comfortable going out with, a monthly and an annual option, I would do that. And then what you would generally do is then incentivize the annual option by giving them 12 months for the price of 10. So that would incentivize people to pick the annual option. So if you're comfortable going out with two, do it, and then just incentivize the annual option accordingly.
All right.
Professional, Phil.
Hey. Professional. All right, let's keep going. Shirley is saying, is it bad to have a free level in order to grow their email list?
I don't think it's a bad thing, but again, you got to be clear about the difference between the free experience and the paid experience. Like, if you're not clear about why people should upgrade to the paid experience, then your audience will never be either. So again, I always like to just get real clear about that difference so that when I'm explaining it, I can say the free experience is great because you can, get random questions answered, etc. But if you're looking for a guided plan to go from X to Z, then I'd encourage you to come and join us inside the membership, because that's where you're going to get more hands-on. You're going to get, specific tutorials that are at your level, etc., etc.
Bingo. All right. Amazing. All right. Let's keep rolling.
I just see that look of disappointment in your eyes, though, Bex. You're really trying to...
I mean, I'd drop it down to 30, but then I think I'd have a riot. So be careful. So far, I'm on people's good side usually. So, all right.
I saw you got compliments on your hair again.
You know what? I'm just wondering what everybody's doing at 8 a.m. every morning. Like, can we all just hop on this link? Show you. Just kidding. Moving forward, Edward's saying, is it okay to have an early bird launch after the founding member launch?
Well, I'm not totally clear on, what you're referring to there, but I'm going to make a guess in that you're suggesting that people can still get in at the founding member price. At the very least, I'd increase it just a little bit because you, again, want to reward your founding members for making the decision that they made. Like, you want them feeling like they were the smartest people in the room because they joined when you offered it at that price, and they were, right? So even if you increase it just a little bit, it still honors your founding members, but still makes it a great deal for anybody that does get in at the early bird price. So hopefully that helps, but reward your founding members, and then you can slowly increase price accordingly.
Okay. B, stop it. Bless him. B is saying, how do you use pricing contrast with one tier?
Okay, so great question. So if you only have one tier, how do you use the whole concept that we talked about with the contrast? Well, you want to compare the price of your membership to other options that people may have to choose from. So as an example, like if you contrast the value of our membership experience to, what it would take to go to college and learn how to go to business school. Like, it's significant. Like, that's like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and wouldn't help you make anywhere near the progress. How do I know? Because I did it myself. But so I'm contrasting the price of the membership experience to college, which would be an option. So that's how you do it.
All right. I've got a couple more questions for you, Stu. You good to go?
Let's go.
All right. So Kathy is asking, how do we set up a membership site on our website? Tech help, please.
Well, this is Kathy that asked this question?
Yes.
Kathy, you can keep it as simple and as easy as possible in the beginning, because that's what's going to help you make the most amount of momentum. Now, I am incredibly biased in the tech option that I would recommend, because the tech option that I think every membership site should be powered by is Searchy, right? That's our solution. So of course I'm going to be incredibly biased, but I am more biased about you taking action and keeping it simple. like Cheryl Hatch, who launched with just email and a Facebook group. She did it that way for 2 years, welcomed more than 600 paying members before she ever moved to a platform. So keep it as simple and as easy for you as possible.
Awesome. Okay.
I mean, put me on like
Okay.
the day show, like Today Show or anything. Like I can hit my time as long as I got a time. I can hit my time.
I mean, okay, listen, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 2 questions still at 45 seconds. And then just for fun, everyone, just for fun, let's just do a couple at 30 seconds.
Let's just keep going down. Let's go down 5 seconds each time. I'll take it.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you heard them, guys. All right. So
I may regret this.
that you are. I'm going to make you. Okay. Lachlan is saying, with an experience based membership, such as teaching a musical instrument, members can be new and members can be experienced. What is your recommendation to be able to attract these different types of members, or focus on one only, or have multiple memberships?
You got a lot of options. I think of Lisa Spector, who she specifically zeroed in on not all piano players, but intermediate to advanced piano players. So essentially a smaller market, but now her messaging was on point. So I do think that there's tremendous opportunity to narrow the market to a specific type of player because or skill level, because your messaging becomes better and so does the content. If you do have a broad spectrum, this is where you got to use your success path and identify where people lie on that path when they join your membership, because that'll indicate where you put your attention with content.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in, you guys. He's in. We could get him to go all night. Anybody? Okay. Now that he's got a competition here,
I know.
we got to be careful. Okay. Tiffany's asking, what if you have a list with a high open rate but a low CTA?
If you have a list with a high open rate, the good news is people want to hear from you. If you've got a low click-through rate, the bad news is your messaging is out of alignment with what your audience is looking for. So I would go back to the messaging map, and the key there is to align what you're saying and offering to what your market wants. There was a great post in the community yesterday. Somebody, forget who, had been through this workshop multiple times, finally got his messaging in line, and boom, immediately saw the difference in results. So it all comes down to messaging.
I thought for sure you were going over on that
I
one.
know you did.
Okay, all right. We ready? You guys knocking off the seconds?
Okay.
Okay. Victoria's saying, are you ready, producer Phil? Okay. Victoria's asking, does it work? A few people have asked this actually. Does it work to have a bilingual membership?
I think you could have a bilingual membership, and I think the technology is actually becoming more and more advanced to allow all of us to be able to speak to anybody in any language using AI. What I would say, though, is in the beginning, I'd focus your energy and effort around one particular language, and then you could have the intention of down the road opening it to people who speak a different language. But in the beginning, stick with one.
I love it. Okay, how far are we down now? What are we at? 25 seconds. Okay.
Oh.
Are we getting down to 10? What's our goal here? Okay.
It's
Okay.
going to be one-word answers in a minute.
I know. Okay. DS Minister asked, so we should compare our membership to the price of our course?
That could be something that you anchor and create contrast around. Or, like I said earlier, you can contrast it to something outside of your offerings that may be more expensive or less expensive, but have way less value. So again, just use that framework that we talked about in today's bonus segment, but contrast is the key. You got to frame up your price accordingly.
Okay. Knocking 5 off.
This is getting a little more
Do you need a
difficult.
drink? You need to stretch? Any?
I've already gone through everything, but feeling. Okay, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Deny, hopefully that is correct. Deny is saying, do you offer refunds for people who don't use the membership and they're not finding value?
I don't offer refunds, but obviously people have the opportunity to cancel. But here's the thing. Inside of any membership, you need to be obsessed with
what people, when are people logging in, what they're viewing, what they're not viewing, because their progress matters. And so, yes.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I needed to say a little more on that one, but I didn't want to get punished.
Yeah. Well, feel free to wrap that one up. Well, I'll mark it down.
Well, basically what let me think. What else would I say on that? At the end of the day, like, oh gosh, at the end of the day, like I had a conversation today, Bex. I spent a good amount of time responding to a gentleman who was very skeptical of the membership model because in his mind, he said, it's just a scam. It's like the gym models where they hope that you sign up and never come in. And I was like, actually, that's the complete opposite of what I teach. Like, we want people logging in. We want them consuming the content because we want them getting results. Because if they get results, then they're going to stay. And if they stay, then our business grows. Like, I am obsessed with your success. Like, our team is obsessed with your progress. We measure everything. We want to see how many people are logging in. If you're not logging in, we want to reach out and we want to find out why. We want to see what you're consuming, what you're not consuming, because we know that if you are logging in, consuming, and taking action, you will get results. So I just want to set the record straight. Like, the membership model is not get a bunch of people in and then don't say anything to them and hope that they don't remember that they're being charged each month. No, I want them, when they see the charge on the credit card, being excited and reminded that that is one of the best investments that I make every single month in myself or in my business or whatever it may be. So obsess over the success of your people, and your membership site will be around for decades to come. So if people aren't logging in, if they're not consuming the content, reach out and find out why. That's the most important step you can take.
There you go. I love it.
He was a little long on that one.
Okay. I am going to ask one more question, Sue, just because I see this come up a lot. So I think it'd be great for you to address it. We'll just let you go.
Am I on a
this
timer
one.
on this
No,
one?
we're going to just let you go
Okay.
on this one.
Okay.
Okay. So this will be the last question. So this is from SO. What do you think of a pricing structure where they pay a bigger fee upfront to join than only a monthly fee after? For example, $100 to join, then $20 a month.
Yeah, this is certainly one of the pricing options that we teach, and it can generally work, especially if you have more of an upfront cost, to delivery. So, for example, I think of a number of memberships that actually physically send out a welcome package to their members. So there's a cost to that, right? And so the founders or the business owners, they offset the cost of that with more of an upfront fee. But I will say that it actually will suppress conversions because there's a higher upfront fee. But the flip side is also true. It will actually increase retention because once members are in, they don't want to cancel because then they'll have to pay the $100 again to get back in. So it can actually serve as a retention strategy. So it's really like 6 one way, half a dozen the other. It lowers conversions on the front end, but it increases retention on the back end. This is where personal preference comes into play. Again, it just depends on the market. It depends on what you're comfortable with. There's no right or wrong answer. It's not a bad thing. It's really looking at like, how is the market reacting? And if you're having trouble, welcoming people, or your conversions are low, then you may want to consider like dropping it, especially if you don't have any upfront costs, and making it easier for people to get in, and then just put more love and attention into maybe surprising or over delivering for your members so that they never want to leave in the membership. Like, we didn't get into the retention strategies because retention really comes into play like after you've launched. But one of the big things that we want to be hyper focused on is keeping our members happy and paying month after month after month. That same gentleman that was very skeptical of the membership model because, he thought that it was just about, getting people in and hoping that they never consume content. One of the other things that he said to me, was that that members only stay for a couple months. And I was just like, dude, that may be the case if you're not helping your people experience progress. But in our communities, like in our world, like people don't stay for months, they stay for years in these memberships. Why? Because again, we focus on the progress of our people. And for as long as I've been doing this, legit decades, helping tens of thousands of people in all kinds of markets, what I can tell you is that as long as somebody is happy and getting value and making progress, they don't leave because they're experiencing too much success, right? So as long as we obsess over our people and we help them experience progress, people will stay. And so this retention is a very big key component to growing a successful membership. And those that focus solely on just getting members in and don't spend any time and energy on developing a proper retention plan will struggle long term. But those that actually care about their people and the success, they will win. Like this is to me like the greatest business model around for people like us who actually care about our people, right? Like as long as people are happy, they're going to continue paying. And as long as they continue paying, our business continues growing. What a great business model that we're in the business of making people happy every single month. Amazing.
Love that. All right. All right, Stu, that wraps up our questions. I will say, I know that you've got your Instagram post. Our team's going to drop that in the chat again. So it's already hopping. So Stu's going to be very busy this weekend. You also have the free Facebook community where Stu and the team also hang out. So if you didn't get a question answer here, we're there. But there's also, I don't know, Stu, if you want to quickly speak to the collective wisdom that's in that group and how powerful that is. So
yeah, we got thousands of membership site owners in that group, and I've seen a whole lot of them jumping in, responding to, answering questions, giving their perspective, giving their experience. So it is really, really great. It's hopping, it's active. Definitely a great place to go and share your experiences and ask questions as well. As I said, I'm going to be on Instagram for the next few days, answering as many questions as I can. I may not be able to get back to them like within 24 hours, but I'm going to just keep answering. So if you keep asking, I'll keep answering. So, make sure you do that in that thread. And then lastly, I would say I highly recommend you come and join us for Sunday. Sunday, we're going to talk about next steps. So we've gone through like the entire blueprint. But now the question is like, okay, what is the plan moving forward? Like, where should I be putting my time, energy, and focus to be able to have experience the most amount of progress in the shortest amount of time? And where do I put my focus if I'm in the beginning stages? Or where do I put my focus if I've already got a membership that's launched? We're going to talk about that in detail on Sunday evening. Now, I know that there are some of you who are perhaps over in the UK or in France or Belgium or Germany or in Europe somewhere, and you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, that's late for me. Let's just take a time out. And let's just acknowledge the Australians who all week have been getting up at the crack of dawn to join us for these live broadcasts. Some cases, it's like 3, 4 in the morning for them. And so I just want to acknowledge the Australians for making the extra effort. And I want to encourage all of you in Europe to come join us. It'll be well worth your time. And I promise you that after Sunday evening, you will have a ton of momentum on your side. Even though it might be late, it'll be well worth the time on Sunday evening. So hopefully I see you all there. I can't wait. And we'll talk about next steps and which ones are right for you.
All right, Stu, today's been amazing. The energy in the chat has been awesome. We got to have Kat show up here and work with me on the pre-show. You've been amazing. Great day.
And great day. And there's a ton of progress that's happening. So I just want to encourage everybody, keep sharing updates on your founding member launches. We want to hear it. We want to celebrate you. We know that, in 99% of cases, we as entrepreneurs don't get acknowledged for the progress that we are experiencing in our businesses. So we want to take a moment. We want to acknowledge you. We want to celebrate you. So make sure you keep us updated on what's happening with your founding member launches, and do that in the community. Our team is constantly monitoring that. And not only that, but they share those with me. We have a whole Slack channel. So I review those as well so that I can jump in and celebrate you and the progress that you're making. So kudos to everybody. And last thing that I would say is in the chat before you go, write, I want you to write AHA in capital letters and let me know what your number one takeaway has been from any of the 3 workshops and the super secret segments we have done thus far. So write AHA and let me know what your big takeaways have been thus far in the chat. All right, friends, you're amazing. Can't wait to see you on Sunday. We've still got a whole lot more goodness, and that's going to be a really special session.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right, see you, friends.
Thank you.
Adios, amigos.